Hey guys. So we have a little bit of a more serious topic that we're going to talk about today. And to be really honest, this was a topic that I had really hoped never to address on this channel because why. There are things that I want to do with this channel that are about, giving people the tools and the inspiration that they need to understand what's going on in the world, to provide a certain perspective about what's going on in the world, to help people to fight back, because I think that that is our most important thing, that we need to fight back. Um However, this situation has been going on now for a year and a half. It started in October of 2020. And I have tried to ignore it. I have tried to address it in other ways. I have tried to, as best I can, just let them complain and scream and in the background and not let it get in the way of my work. But today, things have come to a head, and we have reached the point where this needs to be addressed. And what I'm talking about is Keri Smith from Unsafe Space. Now, I used to be connected with Keri. I've had Keri on this channel. Some of the most popular videos ever in the history of this channel are of Keri Smith. I first encountered Keri Smith when she on her show covered the knitting wars, and they were the only persons talking about the knitting wars. And so and she was one of the people that I learned about a lot of this stuff from. And there will always be a part of me that will forever be grateful to Keri Smith for opening my eyes to this whole thing. However, Keri Smith has gotten to the point of being obsessed with me, apparently thinks I'm her abusive mother, and has generally been stalking me on the internet and complaining about me and trying to paint me as an evil, vile person. And this morning, I found out, when I got a phone call from Dave Rubin himself, that Keri and the horde of bullies that she has collected, because she does have a dozen, or maybe even as many as 2 dozen people that are in her little horde, that they talk about me all the time, and I'm going to prove that. Keri got her horde of bullies to report me to locals, to try to get my locals account canceled. Now, to Dave's and locals' credit, when I explained to him what was going on, he was basically like, "All right." And we moved on with life, because they understand this. They understand internet bullshit. But I'm going to show you exactly what they reported me to locals for. I'm going to show you how they took it out of context. I'm going to show you the last 2.5 months, 2 months, 2.5, at least 2 months of things that Keri Smith has said about me on the internet. And and keep in mind, this has been going on for a year and a half. So I'm going to give you some broader context. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to give you some broader context about the last year and a half. But Keri Smith talks about me so much on the internet that really, if I tried to do any more than like the past 2 months, this is already going to be a long enough stream. I anticipate that this stream is going to go at least a couple of hours, if not longer, just walking through the things from the last 2 months, let alone the past year and a half. So I'm sorry if you do not like internet drama. I genuinely am. I am sorry if this is not the stream that you want, but like, trust me when I say that this is not what I want to be talking about. And my life would be substantially better if this hadn't been going on for the past year and a half. And I've tried to stand up to for myself. I've tried to get it to stop, and it just isn't. And a lot of people have said, "Carlin, ignore it. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it." Well, I tried ignoring it and it didn't work. It didn't work. I've tried ignoring it and they just escalated and they just got worse. And they not only go after me, they go after my supporters. They harass my supporters. They email my supporters. They tried to cancel me with locals. They have gone after my family. They have doxed my house. And I'm going to show you just some of the things that have been said and done about me by Keri Smith and her. Actually, we're focusing on Keri Smith today. Now, if I was going to collect evidence from Keri Smith's horde of bullies on Twitter, I could provide you with a lot more. But that's where we're going to focus today. So, where I thought we might start today is because this is going to be an emotional stream for me. And listen, I am trying extremely hard to just like remain calm and just talk about what's happening. But if I cry at some point in this stream, I am sorry in advance if I cry in this stream. I really am. Well, can I burn some Palo Santo? This is, if you guys have never burned Palo Santo, like it's pretty great. Like I got this like torch lighter. And we're gonna ask my angels to be here with me during this stream. And we're gonna try to get at least some. Oh god, I already feel like constriction in my chest, to be honest. So we're gonna burn some Palo Santo first. We're gonna try to get some good vibes because this is gonna be a tough stream for me to get through. Palo Santo is it's like some people burn sage. I burn Palo Santo. These are from Peru. How Palo Santo is supposed to be harvested, it's only supposed to be harvested from trees that have fallen down naturally. I don't know that actually always works. But I'm just going to clear some negative energy off of me first. I'm going to clear my throat chakra. I'm going to oh god, my heart is so like tight right now. I'm going to let that burn. And so where to start? So I guess maybe we'll start here. I want to say at the top, I don't think it's my job to tell you who to support and who not to support. As I've said, I will always be grateful to Keri Smith in that she was the person that woke me up. I will always be grateful to her for that. That will never change. I learned a lot from her. I got so much value out of her shows that I watched back in the day. And so I will, if there are those of you who are watching this that are supporting Keri Smith and, you know, and watching their shows and doing whatever, I genuinely want you to understand that I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, because I think that you should support people that give you value. And that's really it at the end of the day. If you feel like she's giving you a lot of value, then I'm happy for that for you, and you should keep doing that. So this is not going to be one of those things where I'm like telling you what to do, and I don't want any impression that I'm doing that at all, because that's not how I feel. So let's just say that off the bat. Now, even though I was watching Keri Smith's show and I would kind of like interact with her on Facebook and Twitter every once in a while, I do think that a very important part of this conversation is that I have had maybe 2 or 3 conversations with Keri Smith in my entire life. Just because you watch someone's show on YouTube doesn't mean you actually know them. Just because you see someone's tweets doesn't mean you actually know them, right? Like, I'm a very different person in real life than I am on Twitter or on YouTube. Now, that's not to say that I don't mean the things that I say on Twitter and YouTube, because I mean absolutely everything that I say. At least at the moment that I said it, I'm always open to new information and adjusting my perspective, but like I'm not lying or anything. But the thing of it is like, you just because you see me on YouTube doesn't mean you know me. Just because you see my tweets doesn't mean you know me. And the same is true for her. Just because I was watching her show on YouTube doesn't mean I know her. I don't know her. And that's really the saddest thing of all. Keri Smith does not actually know me. Keri Smith has had a couple of conversations with me for during my entire life. And the last time that I spoke to Keri Smith was in October of 2020. And this has just continued unabated since then. And there have been times, and I will own up to this, there have absolutely been times when I've responded to her and I've said things about her, But every single time since October of 2020 that I have talked about Keri Smith was, and guys, I want to encourage my moderators to block people liberally today in the chat because I have absolutely no doubt that we're going to get some of Keri's horde of bullies in here. So what was I saying? So I have absolutely said things about Keri Smith, but every single time I have said something about Keri Smith, I'm doing it because I'm responding to something she did about me. So when there was a falling out in like October of 2020, I had people emailing me that Keri Smith was emailing people about me, telling them that I was a horrible person. Keri Smith posted text messages on Twitter that I didn't find out about until literally a person who had been stalking me emailed me those text messages. So it's like stuff like that. And again, I tried to ignore it for a long time. And this is just where we are because I really thought she would wear herself out, to be perfectly frank. Like, if you don't like someone, then just move on with life, man. Just move on with life. But they don't know how to do this. And now they have a horde of people, and I'm going to show you the epicenter of this. We're going to look at a lot of stuff today. But this is the epicenter of this. This is an account on Twitter that literally the only reason that this account exists is to harass me. The only reason this account exists is to harass me. And they tweet all day, every day, going through every single tweet I send. And they tweet things my supporters say. They tweet things that other people are saying about me. They go through my account all day, every day, just tweeting about me and just making fun of me. Now, I have reported this account to Twitter on multiple occasions. I actually got this account banned on Twitter because in the previous version of this account, they posted pictures of my house. They doxed my house, posted photos of my house. And Twitter didn't do anything about it for a couple months. And so I ended up making a big stink about it, saying this account has literally doxed my house and I want it gone. And finally I created enough uproar on Twitter and enough people reported the account that their first version of this account got banned. And so I was like, oh my God, finally I have freedom and I don't have to worry about this anymore. Well, about a week after they got banned, they created a new one and they've been continuing ever since with this account. Keri Smith responds to this account all the time. And there is a little horde of people. I call them Keri Smith's horde of bullies. They include Mike Harlow. They include Deb Philman. They include Justice Graves. They include a lot of people, a lot of like anonymous accounts that just live to hate me. They spend their entire days tweeting about how much they hate me. They go into the replies of people who support me or even just people who are talking about me and say, do you realize that Carlin is a horrible person for reason X, Y, B, and Z? And here's stuff that's taken out of context and isn't Carlin horrible? They do this all day, every day. This is every day of my life. Now, something happened a couple of weeks ago, and this is how this got escalated to locals today. We're going to start with what happened today. And I'm going to show you guys a video of a clip that they reported to locals today. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to December 12th, which is actually the epicenter of this. Now, I'm just going to address this right off the bat. My suggestion is to ignore. This is the only, I'll keep saying this every time someone suggests to ignore. I have been ignoring this for the last year and a half. I really want you guys to, okay, if you had a child that was being sent to school every day to be bullied, and that child came home crying every single day, and you said, just ignore it, honey, it'll go away, and it just kept going for a year and a half, would you keep telling them to ignore it? That's what's happened to me. So I know you guys have the very best intent when you say ignore it, but the fact of the matter is not only can't I ignore it because they went directly after my business today. I really want you guys to understand this. They tried to get my business canceled today. This is a straight SJW tactic. They tried to get my business canceled. I can't ignore this anymore. They do this every day, which I'm going to demonstrate. So ignoring it is just no longer an option. I wish it were. I wish that this would just all go away if I ignored it. But they have now proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will just keep escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm documenting things and considering hiring a lawyer. That's the point that we're at right now. Everything is going to get reported to the police. There's going to be official police reports for harassment, and we're going to see where it goes from there. But I'm just going to show you guys what's been happening, and you can draw your own conclusions. So let me go take you to, actually, I need to get this in a new window. Hang on. Let me take you to what happened and what they reported to locals. And now my locals members, and I just want to say, like, a very, very, very big thank you to my locals members. Um, just he asked, is Dave mad at you? Is locals mad at you? I think that I think that they didn't look into this enough, but it seems like things are fine. Let me be very clear. I don't have any ill will towards locals or Dave Rubin. They're doing their due diligence, and like there's nothing wrong there. My issue is that this was even brought up to locals in the first place. So my locals community has been they've known about this for a while because I do locals exclusive live streams where I talk about things. Actually, I don't know if I set that up right. Hang on, let me just make sure I set that up right. I do locals exclusive live streams in which I talk about just different things going on in my life. And you know, I've always wanted my journey in this to be to illustrate the full breadth of the human experience. I'm not trying to be a commentator. I'm trying to be a human being. And so I want to show the ups and I want to show the downs of this experience of going from being a private person to being kind of like a weird public person. I don't really consider myself to be a public person, but like, you know, fine, whatever. And I want to show people the good and the bad. I want to be able to talk about emotions and different things like that because I think it is important to acknowledge the full breadth of the human experience. And so I do talk about things that are bothering me. And you know, when was this? This was on February 6th, so this was 10 days ago. So let me tell you about what this stalker account was doing 10 days ago. And I don't have it pulled up. I suppose I could go back and look at it. But again, I only had a chance to take several dozen screenshots today while investigating Keri's Twitter account. But I certainly do have evidence of what this stalker account did. I just won't show it today. So what this stalker account did. Okay, so I wanna give a shout out to my locals members who we were on a Zoom call before this, and they said, Carlin, you know, when you do the stream today, just wear something. They told me to wear one of my shawls around me to comfort me. I actually ended up wearing my Boston Marathon sweater. So this is my can't see. This is my 2014 Boston Marathon sweater. Same one I'm wearing in the video. Now the reason I bring this up is some of you guys know this, some of you don't. I have them here. I found these while I was just like, I found them randomly. Look at these. This is a good thing. Actually, I'll make myself big. I ran the 2014 and the 2015 Boston Marathon. The Boston Marathon is a very special thing to me. I think it's an amazing event because normal people like me, who I'm not the greatest runner in the world, but I can do it if I need to. Normal people like me, we get to compete in the same event as giants, as the most elite athletes in the world. And I ran it in 2014 and in 2015. And the reason that I ran it in 2014 and 2015 is because Victor and I were at the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013. We were a block and a half away when the second bomb went off. We had actually been standing across the street from where the second bomb was for a good bit of the day. And it just happened that we had watched the elite runners finish. We went to get lunch. We came back to the finish line to watch, to like walk around and to watch other people finish and to cheer them on. And we were about a block and a half away from the second bomb when it went off. And this was a deeply traumatic experience for me, as you might imagine, because not only was the Boston Marathon like my favorite thing in the world, and this was a really good opportunity for, like, this was Victor's first Boston Marathon, so that was a big deal. And it was just really traumatic, and it was hard. And I don't really talk about it that much. Uh Like, I couldn't even watch, you guys know that Mark Wahlberg movie that came out about it? I couldn't even watch that movie for years, and I was in a hotel room, I know this is a sidetrack, but I'm probably dawdling, whatever. I watched that movie for the first time a couple years ago, and it took, like, 8 years for me to be able to watch that movie. It is actually a really good movie. They did a really good job. But the reason I bring this up is I was talking with someone on Twitter, just like a random person on Twitter, about what it was like in Boston the week after the marathon. And the stalker account, because they stalk my replies, they look at every single tweet I sent. They started tweeting and making fun of me for being at the Boston Marathon bombing. And then the horde of bullies started saying, well, Carlin wasn't really at the marathon finish line. She is such a pathological liar. And then they started trying to triangulate my location from 9 years ago. They started, actually, there was a horde of them, that not a horde, maybe there was a couple of them that actually started trying to triangulate my location at the Boston Marathon finish line in 2013 to prove that I was a pathological liar that wasn't really there and was just saying I was for attention. And I'm going to be honest, that was my breaking point with this entire situation. That was my breaking point. And so I did this stream in locals, like, literally as this was happening. I did this stream in locals as I had just discovered that this stalker bullying internet account had been trying to triangulate my location at the Boston Marathon bombing 13 years ago. I just want to acknowledge the super chat from Matthew. Matthew says, I do not necessarily agree with you on many things, but I respect your knowledge of progressive CRT and woke ideology. Do not stop or get discouraged. Oh, I'm not going to stop, Matthew. These people want me to stop. That's part of why I'm doing this stream, because, I am not going to allow them to make me stop. So I did this stream right after I discovered that this stalker account was trying to triangulate my whereabouts at the Boston Marathon finish line, this one that Keri Smith interacts with all the time. And I was fired up and I was pissed off. And I said something off the cuff that I quite frankly shouldn't have said, but I immediately corrected myself. And I just want to play you. I want to play you from this stream, and this stream is public in my locals. But I want to play you what they reported to locals today to try to get me canceled. And let me know if you guys can hear the audio of this. Hang on, let me just, I'm going to get my headphones set up real quick. Okay, let me know if you can hear the audio. I will never forgive this bitch. I don't hate many people. Keri Smith could have just walked the fuck away. Gone on with her own life. She just responded to this account yesterday. She responded to this account yesterday. She fans the flames of this. Beverly, that fucking bitch. She does. Beverly's associated with Unsafe Space. Keri, if you ever see this video, you better not come to Porkfest, because I will kick the ever-loving fuck out of you, and you better believe it. That's what they reported to locals. Wait. I probably wouldn't actually do that, but that felt really good to say. So at a peak of frustration for me, when I had just found out that this stalker account had been trying to triangulate my experience at an actual terrorist event, then this had been going on for a year and a half. I made an off-the-cuff comment saying, I will kick your ass if you come to Porkfest, and because she's been at the epicenter of this entire thing. And then immediately I paused, and even as angry as I was, and I was angry, I was upset, I was livid, I said, I wouldn't really do that, but that felt really good to say. Now, what did this horde of bullies do? They clipped this out of context to try to get my business canceled. Let's just like let that sink in for a second. And this is what they do all the time. This is what they do literally all the time. They clip things out of context, they take things out of context to try to make them mean something that they do not mean in order to try to hurt me. And now this stream is still live in my locals right now. You can go watch the entire thing if you want to. It's called Life with Stalkers: Pontification about the part of this that I hate the most. And everyone and their mother knows that I don't condone violence. I talk about not condoning violence all the time. I literally have never been in a fight in my life. But they took a clip out of context that I said when I was at peak frustration, and partially because of their behavior. Not partially, entirely because of their behavior. But in order to understand why I got to that level, we need to go back. We need to go back to, we are going to start on December 12th. Now, if you remember, I don't know that anyone could ever forget this necessarily, but I said a spicy thing about the Holocaust, and I ended up getting a round of shit on the internet for about a week. And Keri, because every single time that anyone says anything about me on Twitter, Keri Smith is right there. They are right there to say, here, you think Carlin is a horrible person? I think Carlin is a horrible person too. Let's bond over the fact that we hate Carlin and think Carlin is a horrible person. So, in the midst of me being canceled for this Holocaust tweet, Keri Smith decided that this was the perfect time to engage in a pile-on, because she's not an SJW at all. She's just a concerned person. She thought it was a perfect time to engage in a pile-on against me and wrote a whole article about how I'm her abusive mother. Now we're going to read this article, but I read this article to my locals yesterday. I had heard about this article when Keri wrote it, but to be quite frank, I didn't care enough to even look into it. The reason that I looked into this article yesterday is that I literally heard about it from Joshua. Joshua told me about it in our weekly one-on-one meeting. Joshua, if you guys don't know, is my life coach in real life. We also do a show on Tuesdays, and we're just friends in real life. And I literally heard about this from him. And so I actually read this article on a live stream in my locals yesterday, and I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked at how crazy this article is. So we're gonna read it, but I also want to point out that so she's got a video to a link to Mike Harlow's video about me. I know some of you have seen Mike Harlow's video about me. I have not seen it. I don't really care to watch it because Mike Harlow did exactly the same thing that that stalker account does, that Keri does, in that he took things out of context to make them seem like things that they weren't. Because Mike Harlow's video about me is like the most successful thing that Mike Harlow has ever done. It's like the most successful thing that is on his channel. So he utilized a pile-on. He took advantage of the fact that I was being canceled for this other thing, and he decided this was the perfect time to release a video about how I'm a horrible person. And so this is the video that Keri is referencing in this article, and the two of them are like best friends, so they totally colluded on the timing of this. Now, this stream is going to go on for a while. I can already tell you guys that. So let me just give you a lay of the land of what's going to happen. We're going to read this article. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to walk you through what Keri thinks. Ethan in the chat, yes, I did get that email and I responded. So I'm going to walk you through this article, and then let me just even show you guys. Let me just show you guys. I went through today and spent 4 hours, and thankfully 3 of those hours were when I was on Zoom with my locals community. I don't want people to think this is what I do all day, every day. In fact, I'm highly annoyed that I had to spend as much time today focusing on this issue as I did. But I spent 4 hours today going through Keri Smith's Twitter timeline to screenshot Every single time Keri Smith has spoken about me on Twitter since December 12th, just since December 12th, just the last 2 months. And I want to show you guys the amount of tweets that we're going to go through today. These are all tweets. All those the thing on the sky right there, the scrolly thing on the side, these are all tweets that Keri Smith has sent about me since December 12th. Since this article was written. That's why we're using December 12th, because that's the day she wrote this article. Now, Keri Smith has been tweeting about me for a year and a half, so there's a lot more that I can go back and find. But quite frankly, this is several dozen tweets on their own. Every single one of these tweets is Keri Smith directly tweeting about me. So what we're going to do is we are going to read this article that Keri Smith wrote about me on December 12th. And then after we read this article that she wrote about me, we are going to then go through every single tweet that Keri Smith has sent about me since December 12th. What you are going to see in these tweets is that Keri Smith is constantly interacting with that stalker account. Keri Smith is constantly interacting with, that's her, with this stalker account. I'm going to demonstrate that clearly. I'm going to demonstrate that Keri Smith goes into other people's replies when they're not even talking about me to say, isn't Carlin a horrible person? We're going to see Keri Smith call me a narcissist. We're going to see her call me a sociopath. We're going to see her call me a psychopath. We're going to see her call me a con artist. We're going to see her call me a stalker. I think that the stalker tweets are especially they're especially like ironic, considering that Keri Smith is replying to a Twitter account that literally only exists to stalk me every single day on Twitter. And she's literally replying to a stalker Twitter account, calling me a stalker. We're going to go through all of these. And I'm going to talk to you about what was actually going on. And you know, we're going to have a conversation about that. So we're going to have a really long stream. Hallie says I was smoking a cigar. Yes, I was smoking a cigar. It was a honey cigar. Despite the look on my face, which they pulled off my Instagram, I was actually really enjoying that cigar. Sometimes I like a cigar. You know, who doesn't? Who doesn't? But let's go back first to this article. All right. And guys, please, I know it sounds odd to say mount the like button if you like hearing about me being stalked on the internet. But please mount that like button if you appreciate what the hell that I've been through for the past couple of years. I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because of course we're going to have to counterbalance all of Keri Smith's little horde that's going to be watching this eventually, you know. All right, so here is the article, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. This video by Mike Harlow, The Truth About Carlin Borisenko, is, as Poetry Painter says, a masterclass in how to spot a malignant narcissist. Now, you might ask, who's Poetry Painter? Who is Poetry Painter, the person that Keri Smith is taking mental health advice from in regards to me? Well, I'll show you who Poetry Painter is. This is Poetry Painter. I call it the Crazy Bird account on Twitter. If I go into Poetry Painter's replies, you will see that one of the things that Poetry Painter loves to do is respond to my stalker account and retweet my stalker account. And oh, look, Poetry Painter is right there. This guy right here, fun fact, this guy, Randall Thor on Twitter, that's a legitimate pedophile. This guy is a legitimate pedophile, convicted pedophile. His name is Waylon Brew. I did a whole background check on him. He stalks me on Twitter all the time too. Poetry Painter's right there, stalking accounts, like, and all that stuff. So Poetry Painter is in this little horde. Now, I first met Poetry Painter after my article went viral about leaving the left and going to a Trump rally, because Poetry Painter is a moderator on r/conservative Reddit. And I did an AMA on the r/conservative Reddit. And Poetry Painter was the one who coordinated that. After that AMA on Reddit, this person, who is an older conservative woman, became obsessed with me and started DMing me all the time and was trying to control my language and was saying, you should say this, you shouldn't say that. And I was basically like, I'm going to say what I want. And when this person figured out that they couldn't control my language, I eventually just got really pissed. And I was like, listen, like, I don't have to take advice from you. I'm sorry. I know you mean well, but no. And So I eventually ended up blocking this person on Twitter. And this person got so psychotic about the fact that I blocked them that they started incessantly engaging with that stalker account. They also signed me up for all sorts of weird old lady Christian email lists. So I started getting emails from like weird Christian sites that I never signed up for. I started getting weird emails from conservative sites that I'd never signed up for. I started getting emails from like weird old lady stores at the mall that I had never signed up for, and it was all this person. It was all this crazy lady. So this poetry painter is who Keri Smith is literally referencing in this article when she's talking about me being a malignant narcissist. Now, I also want to say this. I actually have a lot of friends who are like psychologists and counselors. And so I do actually do mental health checks with people because being public on the internet is not actually the easiest thing in the world. And, there were points in the last year and a half when this has gotten so bad that I was literally like, am I a narcissist? Now, here's a fun fact. Oh, yeah, Tech Man, I'm certain about Keri, and I'm going to present evidence from Keri's own mouth. So you're going to see, like, sit back, man. Sit back, kick up your feet. We're going to be here a while. So, I actually do regular check-ins with actual legitimate psychologists, and there was a point several months ago where I was like, "Am I a narcissist?" And you know what? My friend told me that's a psychologist. They said, "Carlin, the very fact that you're questioning whether or not you're a narcissist means that you're not a narcissist, because narcissists would never question that. They never would." So, if anyone has any concerns about me being an actual narcissistic personality disorder, that's like the mere fact that I would do this stream in the first place is actually proof that that is not the case. Anyway, let's go on. If you don't care about drama, skip it. But it's not just drama. It's a very real case study in how dangerous and abusive people are able to use, threaten, bully, and get away with trying to control others for so long. And it's a lesson in not being ruled by fear. It is also very personal for me. When I was a kid, I had a teacher who once asked me about bruises and welts on my legs. I was a straight A student and well liked by my teachers, and I liked this one especially. My mother was a teacher at a neighboring school, and she was also well liked. She had instilled in us that no one would ever believe us if we told about what happened in our home. But I took a chance on this teacher, and despite great fear, I told her about my mother. I spent all of my childhood believing that was a mistake. I didn't hear anything about it for a while until my mother revealed, during a beating, that my teacher had called and told her that I confided in her. She sneered at me and mocked me, telling me what a little liar I was, and how even my teacher didn't believe me. She was gleeful and large eyed and heady about saving that bit of information to reveal it at a time that would inflict maximum damage. Now, I want to say this here because I think that this is deeply important. I didn't have the rosiest of childhoods. I I want to like I think my parents did the best they could. And so I don't want anyone to think that I'm shit talking my parents. I think my parents also came from messed up childhoods, and we do the best we can, and they made some mistakes were made. During my childhood, I barely spoke in my home. One of the reasons that expression is so important to me today is that I barely spoke growing up. There were years in my house where I didn't speak because every time I opened my mouth to say something, I would get slapped down in one way or another, not physically, but there was a lot of emotional abuse. And so I learned over the course of doing this that it was just better for me not to speak because it was just like anytime I spoke, it created problems. So that's what I had to deal with in my childhood. I also remember times I was chased around my house with a knife. That was really fun. So I didn't have the rosiest of childhoods. And so I do understand, and I have absolutely great sympathy for the abuse that Keri Smith endured as a child. I have unbelievable sympathy for the abuse that she endured. And this is a serious topic. and I don't want to diminish the impact of what happened to her with her mother. However, however, what Keri Smith is doing in this article is she is conflating me with her abusive mother. In Keri Smith's head, based on what I read in this article, she perceives me to be the same person as her abusive mother. And you're going to see in the course of this article where she really thinks and she really believes that every time that she attacks me and bullies me on Twitter, she really believes that she is standing up to her abusive mother. Now, it is my greatest hope for Keri that she goes to therapy and she learns to work out her mommy issues in a different way. Because right now, what she's doing is she's working out her mommy issues on me. And I am not Keri Smith's abusive mother. I am a person that has had maybe three conversations with Keri Smith in my entire life. And so for her to conflate the two and to honestly trick herself into believing that every time she's talking about me, she's cutting her mother down to size, that's just not constructive. And it's incredibly hurtful and detrimental to me, who is not the person that beat her growing up. I am deeply sorry she went through that, but I am not that person. Let's continue. No one ever intervened in the abuse in our household. Well, guess what, Keri? No one intervened in my household either. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. We had a shitty childhood. There was no one to stand up for us. My dad was a target as well, and he came to me weeping for advice on whether or not to divorce when I was 12. And by the way, the fact that her father went to her when she was 12, that was also abusive and wrong. That shouldn't have happened. But I told him yes, he never took my advice. I have not spoken to very many people about these things my whole life. I love my dad. I love my siblings. I love my mother. I've carried a lot of pain about not protecting my brother and sister. I don't want to hurt all of them by speaking of things of which we do not speak. I have tried to find a balance here, but I may not be successful. When I watched Mike Harlow's video about Carlin, a dam broke inside of me and I sobbed for a long time. I realized something last year when dealing with this person's relentless lies and attacks and DARVO, deny and reverse and victim offender, that God wanted me to learn a lesson that I had not learned yet. It's okay if no one believes you. So what Keri Smith is saying here, Keri Smith is going to continue to talk about my relentless lies and attacks. She is not going to provide any evidence of those lies or attacks because no evidence exists. Every single time that I have spoken publicly about Keri Smith has literally been to respond to things that Keri Smith has said about me. So any talk about relentless lies or attacks, I want receipts. I want receipts of the relentless lies and attacks, and then I want some context associated with those relentless lies and attacks. So Keri thinks she's learning a lesson from God now, from me, because I'm her abusive mother and she's learning a lesson from God. Now, I do believe Keri Smith has a lesson to learn in this, and I do believe that lesson is from God, but I don't think she's learning the lesson that she thinks she's learning. Telling my teachers all of those years ago was not a mistake. It was the right thing to do. You can't be afraid of people not believing you. You can't care what people think. You have to live in truth anyway. You have to do what is right anyway. You will be okay. There is only ever you and God, and everything beyond that is a blessing, a gift, specifically because it is not guaranteed. I do not regret trying to quietly walk away from this person once I realized what she was last fall. Now, Keri's claiming that she tried to quietly walk away. Keri has been tweeting about me ever since. Keri has not tried to quietly walk away. In fact, we're going to see evidence. I'm going to show you evidence that I actually said to Keri at one point, like not too actually long ago. I was like, can we just stop? Can we just move on with life? Like, I'll stop if you stop. Can we just all be adults and move on? And she was like, you're a narcissist, Carlin. That was literally Keri Smith's response to me when I said, can we just all walk away from this and go on with our lives? Keri Smith's response was, narcissist. I have evidence of that. I'm going to show you guys. I would do it again. I never want to let fear of what someone might do to me or what people might believe, control me. Psychopaths and psychopathic ideologies depend on us letting fear keep us quiet. They count on us letting fear win out so that we compromise ourselves again and again until we are small and defiled and weak and cowardly. I will not do this. So Keri Smith literally thinks that, see, I'm going to see comments like this. These are not real. Just so you guys know, I have no idea who this Anthony guy is, and I know people who comment and come to my streams regularly. So we're going to see a lot of comments like this because this is what people do to try to gaslight you. They say, I was once a Carlin supporter, but I have to unsubscribe. Every single person manages to burn so many bridges, blaming everyone. This is someone from Keri Smith's horde. I have no idea who this person is. No idea who this person is at all. And my regular viewers will tell you that I know people in chat. I pay attention to screen names. I pay attention to who comments. So, Anthony, don't worry, buddy. We're blocking you. You're going to see a lot of gaslighting like that. That's what they do. So this is basically Keri admitting that that she sees when she looks at me, she sees her abusive mother. Okay? An acquaintance recently posed a strange would you rather question to me. Would you rather not have sex with a bear, but have everyone think you did, or have sex with a bear and have no one know you did it? My answer was fast and strong. Duh. I'd rather not have sex with a bear, but have everyone think I did. So I think that that is actually the correct answer to that question, by the way. He was shocked. In sudden seriousness, like a confession, he told me he'd rather fuck a bear and have no one know. I felt a swirl of pity and disgust and sadness for him, and that sinking feeling that he was probably speaking for many, if not most people. He would rather defile himself, his sacred being, and defile another sacred creature, and try to live with himself the rest of his life, burying the awful deep truth inside of him like a cancerous root, than to have people believe he did awful and untrue things. The fear of what others think is poisoning us. It's good reason people, many of them actual liberals, not woke zombies, won't speak up against what they now privately admit they think of the excess of woke culture. AD asks, Carlin, why are so many people saying they're unsubscribing from you? They're saying it because they're trying to trick you into believing that they've always been my fans and supporters, when in fact what is happening is they are Keri Smith's fans and supporters that are trying to gaslight you all into believing that everyone hates me and that they just can't take anymore and they're unsubscribing. That's why. And listen, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be really honest. If you can't handle me doing one stream that you don't like, I'm probably not the account for you. So I think that that's I'm not after numbers. I'm after people who actually want to be here. And so if you don't want to stay subscribed because I'm doing a stream you don't like when I've been trying to stand up to this for a year and a half and it hasn't stopped, you weren't really a supporter anyway. So all good. But thank you for the super chat. I just spoke with one such beautiful but muted soul at a Christmas party the other night. She was the life of the party, a confident speaker who knew how to command the room. But her confidence was punctuated by snark, abrupt memories of a timid self-censorship where she'd stop herself and say, but I know I don't get to have an opinion on that because I'm not black or trans, and I would never presume to speak on it. When I pressed her on why, where does she work, what does she mean? I know what she means, but I wanted to know if she did. She admitted no, it's not just work, it's everywhere. You don't want to be canceled, she said. She told me how she couldn't make a joke I'd made online without 6 friends immediately unfriending her. I felt sorry for her in a way. I felt sorry for the bear fucker, but without the disgust. I just felt sad for her and for everyone trapped by that fear. I used to be in that place. I know that fear. I hadn't forgotten. I think she's on the right path, and I hope she keeps going, even when it gets scary and people start to think awful and untrue things about her. Now, I want to pause here because this is really the biggest tragedy of this whole situation for me, is that Keri Smith is a wonderful writer. And Keri Smith really does understand the SJW culture. And she is in a unique position to help wake people up. She is much different than me. We are obviously two very different people. But what that means is that we are going to reach different audiences. My audience is not going to be the same as Keri Smith's audience. And that is a feature, that's not a bug. But what I want Keri Smith focusing her energy on is actually waking people up and explaining the SJW ideology. Listen, I genuinely mean this. Nothing would make me happier than if Keri Smith stopped focusing her energy on me and started focusing her energy entirely 100% on helping people. That would be my preference. That is the truth. I had someone on my local stream tell me yesterday, I hope Keri Smith just drops off the internet. I don't hope Keri Smith just drops off the internet. I just want Keri Smith to stop talking about me. That's literally all I want. I want Keri Smith to keep talking about the SJW ideology. I want Keri Smith to do videos about the SJW ideology. I want Keri Smith to go on shows and talk about the SJW ideology. I would like Keri Smith to write a book about the SJW ideology. I would love nothing more than for Keri Smith to be monumentally successful at fighting back against this. That is the truth. I just want her to stop obsessing over me. That is literally all I want. We be adults. We go our own separate ways. You don't have to be BFFs with everyone. And everyone that you dislike is not a narcissist. That's my preference. I'm just going to check in on my other sites that I'm streaming on. I'm on Odyssey, Rockfin, also Rumble. Okay, I see you guys. Okay. Matthew Hammond says, is it possible you could talk to Keri vocally instead of using social media? No, it's not possible. She blocked me on everything back in October 2020. I understand the hurt and anger, but it would free her to focus on SJWs. That's not my choice, Matthew. That was Keri's choice. That was her choice. Keri Smith in October of 2020 blocked me everywhere and then proceeded to tweet out private text messages. So it's not my choice. Now, here we're going to get into the part of the article where Keri Smith compares me to both Hitler and rapists, which is really nice. The past year and a half, I have learned why monsters like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein were able to destroy so many people for so long, even though everybody knew. They were enabled by fear and ambition. But not quite so. Fear and ambition are not bad things in and of themselves. These monsters were enabled by cowardice and greed. Greed is ambition that has become perverted by placing it as the highest priority in your life, higher even than your principles. Cowardice occurs when you allow fear to control you, when you place it at the top, higher than the truth, higher than doing the right thing. The people who knew about Weinstein or Epstein and stayed quiet about them for so long did so either out of greed for what they thought these powerful people could give them, or cowardice about what happened to them. Cowardice about what people would believe and do. They traded the truth and their souls for cheap trinkets, an illusion of safety. Keri's not actually wrong about anything she wrote there, by the way. On a large scale, fear is what keeps good Germans and good Christians quiet during historical atrocities on a mass scale. Cowardice is the handmaiden to evil. It is what allows dangerous ideologies and authoritarianism and cults to flourish and to wreak great destruction on mankind before being brought to heal. Now, I thought that this was interesting. Just as a side note, I was looking at her Twitter, obviously, to collect all these screenshots, and it turns out Keri Smith is a relatively new Christian, and she's in this church. Apparently, Keri Smith's church, and this is according to her Twitter, kicks people out of the church if they're unrepentant sinners. And to me, kicking people out of a church for being unrepentant sinners, it sounds a little bit like a cult. I'm going to be honest, everyone should be able to worship the way they want to worship. I'm not trying to say that, if that's the way you want to run your church, I guess, more power to you. But if you're telling me that I have to join a group, and if that group considers me an unrepentant sinner, they're going to kick me out. Like, I would say that's kind of cultish, and that doesn't seem like Christ's lessons of love and forgiveness to me. Because if when I think of Christ, and I'm not a Christian, but I do have a relationship with Christ, like Christ is about pure love, love and forgiveness. And so not forgiving people who are like not adhering to the behaviors you want them to, and not just loving the sinner, not the sin sort of thing, kicking them out of the church seems a little cultish to me. I'm just going to say that's just a side note. It is what is keeping the silent majority quiet and the Covidians and woke authoritarian about Covidians and woke authoritarianism. We are ushering in the idea that the government owns individuals rather than individuals owning ourselves, and we are doing it because we have elevated the fear of what others will think of us. No one wants to be falsely thought a racist. No one wants to be falsely thought of as anti science. God has taught me a lot about letting go of what people think in many different ways and in many different times of my life. I learned it from my childhood, though not until much later. I learned it when I left woke ideology and cast off into the basket of deplorables by my old social circles. I learned it during the psychopathic events of the recent Covidian years, and I was suddenly believed to be anti vax or anti science by people who should know better. And I learned it from my experience dealing with the attentions of a narcissistic sociopath. That's me. She's referencing me there. And having to be okay with anyone and maybe everyone believing her lies and thinking that I am all of the things she is, or that I have done all of the things she has done to me. Now, this is another point I just want to point out. Keri Smith is claiming that I've spread lies about her and have done all manner of horrible things to her, but she's providing literally no examples. There's like, I want to know what I'm accused of. I want to know what this woman thinks I did to her, because I truly have no idea. Again, I have not spoken to Keri Smith since October of 2020. It has been, 18 months since I have spoken to Keri Smith. She wrote this article in December of 2021. She wrote this article 15 months after the last time that I ever spoke to her. So I want to know, I want a specific list of grievances that I'm being accused of, and I want evidence of those grievances, because I truly have no effing idea. For the last year and a half, I've been focused on living my life, on building out the work that I'm doing with Actively Unwoke, on building out my locals, on making content, on just trying to be a normal human being, man. So I want a list. I want specifics. When I became a Christian, one of my prayers has always been that God removes my ego, because if you think you don't have an ego problem, then you probably have an ego problem. I pray that prayer before every podcast or anytime I speak publicly. Reduce me. In a way, learning to get past the fear of what others people will think of me is a way of reducing myself. I am grateful for answered prayers, even when they are answered in painful ways. And yet, seeing someone, a friend, a lovely soul, support me publicly and say, "Yes, I believe you. I know this happened to you, and it happened to me too, and it's wrong," opened the floodgates from childhood for me. She's referencing Mike Harlow's video on me there. And I cried like a little girl who never had anyone to stand up and do that for her. We are not owed this. We do not need it. It is okay if everyone thinks of all the awful and untrue things about us. It is okay if everyone in a mad world thinks we've gone mad. It is a blessing, a gift, a kindness to be believed. And that's it. So, in this article where Keri Smith is calling me a malignant narcissist and a psychopath, she has literally provided zero evidence for why I'm a malignant narcissist or a psychopath. Zero evidence in this entire article. Now, again, I want to emphasize that I have deep sympathy for what Keri Smith went through as a child. But the fact is that she's equating me with her abusive mother in this article, and I am not Keri Smith's abusive mother. I've never hit someone in my entire life. But Now it's on the internet forever. Yay. But that's not where this stopped. Because the thing is, this article came out 2 months ago. And like I said, I need to show you guys this too. Holy shit, I totally forgot. So yesterday was the first time that I had actually seen this article. And I want to show you what she said in the comments. And I want to show you one of the comments specifically to illustrate how these people do what they do. Keri said in the comment, "I will not be approving of any Carlin's puppets." So she calls my supporters, she calls the people who like me and like my content, she calls you guys puppets, and she calls you flying monkeys. And Keri seems to be under the delusion that anytime anyone supports me or anytime that anyone says anything positive about me, that it's because I'm manipulating them to say something positive about me. So just so you guys know, that is literally what Keri Smith thinks of you. If you like my content, Keri Smith thinks that you are a manipulated puppet and are just my flying monkey to go do my bidding. Okay? So I will not be approving of any of Carlin's puppets on this essay. Not sorry about it either. With all due respect, you have no idea what you are talking about or how she is using you to hurt others' peace. So yeah, Keri thinks I'm also using all of you to hurt other people. Now, I didn't even read this article until yesterday. So I wasn't sending anyone to this article to say anything. I didn't even see it until yesterday. And then Keri follows up with so the evidence that Keri has presented partially comes from a former friend of mine that and kind of like writing partner, business partner, like whatever. We had a falling out. Now, after our falling out, he proceeded to post publicly on the internet private communications, of course, out of context, as they always do. And Keri Smith immediately latched right onto him. And I think, frankly, used him and manipulated him to get back at me. Now, I will say this. I've had to work through many emotions about this person posting private messages about me on the internet that were out of context and not valid when looked at in the greater context. However, I do not hold him responsible for Keri's behaviors. I don't. I truly do not believe he understood what he was feeding when he did this. And I think that he was scared and he was looking for community and he was looking for support. And he found that with Keri Smith and her band of bullies. And I don't think that's the best choice. But I do not blame him for what she has done. She is the problem here. He is not. But I also want to show you this. There was one other guy. So I want to show you this guy, Keith Bissett. Now, Keith is interesting because Keith in the Porkfest Facebook group, probably about a month ago. So when I had Dennis Pratt on my channel to interview me about Porkfest like a little while ago, about a week before that interview, Keith Bissett, who commented on this article, posted in the Porkfest planning group. He posted, "Beware of Carlin. Be careful about Carlin." And then people were like, "Why?" And he said, "Just be careful." And this is what these people do. So in this article, he comments, "Great to see Borisenko exposed. Paying attention to what others went through is instructive for all of us in dealing with such personality types. This analysis helps me understand the actions of a deplorable person that I find it difficult to fathom. I have trouble even imagining what motivates and drives her actions." This guy literally stalked me into a Facebook group for an event I'm going to in June and proceeded to leave cryptic posts in the Facebook group saying, "Be careful about Carlin." But of course, giving no evidence of it. This is what these people do. They go into groups or they reply to tweets and they're like, "You should be careful with her. She's dangerous." But they never say why. They never offer evidence. Ethan asked, "Did Keri start this thing before or after the hotel incident?" Well, Keri and I were still friends after the hotel incident. This is what Keri doesn't want you to know. The hotel incident happened in like September of 2020? I don't even remember. Keri Smith is still more obsessed with the hotel incident than I am. But the hotel incident was in September. I saw Keri in October at an event and everything was fine. And then after election day, I found out that I was blocked on from her Twitter. And then she proceeded to complain about the hotel incident like all the time. Let me be very, very clear. Keri Smith was not even in the state when the hotel incident happened. So she likes to make it seem like it was this great inconvenience for her. I had to go to trauma therapy for months after the hotel incident. Keri wasn't even there. She wasn't even there. So anything that they say about the hotel incident, I have yet to see one solitary shred of evidence that I did what that hotel said I did. There is no photographic evidence that I did what that hotel said I did. There is no video evidence of that I did what that hotel said I did. There's no key card evidence that I did what that hotel said I did. There is no evidence. Zero. Zilch. And the only reason that anyone is still talking about that hotel incident is because Keri Smith and her band of bullies literally talk about it all the time as though it's breaking news. Like, I don't even care about the hotel incident anymore. Like I said, I went to therapy. I did what adults do when traumatic things happen to them, and that was a deeply traumatic experience for me that brought back all my memories of being assaulted and being helpless. I did what adults do, and I went to therapy, and I fixed that right up. So that's what happened on December 12th. Keri Smith posted that article. Now, what I want to do next is I want to go through every single tweet that Keri Smith has sent about me since December 12th. And again, Keri Smith tweets about me all the time, all the time. But there like I only have so much time in the world, right? So I did not go back through all of her tweets today. I was only able to have time to go back through the last 2 months of tweets, and I decided December 12th was going to be the cutoff for what I was going to focus on today. But mark my words, Keri, I'm going back through all the tweets and I'm getting screenshots of all the tweets. So, if you want to start deleting, now might be your opportunity. Rebecca says, oh, we're going to see Deb in some of the tweets. Rebecca says, I got to know Deb through your channel. I liked her very much. Seeing how she acted through this makes me sad and makes me think about unfollowing her on here and on Twitter. I want to emphasize again, I will not tell you who to follow and who not to follow and who to support and who not to support. You have to make those choices on your own. I will say that I know that Keri Smith privately reached out to Deb. She tried to convince her that I was a dangerous person, and apparently she succeeded. And, that's really sad for me. I think that Deb could be doing so much more service around homeschooling than she is. And I think it's a shame. I watched Deb get incredibly angry. I offered to help Deb earn money when she needed money. I offered my platform to Deb. I promoted Deb's stuff. I have never been anything but nice to Deb. And now she's denouncing me on the internet because Keri Smith convinced her that I was a horrible person. Deb even said to me, she was like, I was warned about you. Well, where did that warning come from? It came from Keri Smith. All right. So let's start going through all of Keri Smith's tweets about me since December 12th. Please make sure you mount that like button, guys. And I want to say this too. Any person is welcome to go through all of my tweets and to see every single time I've tweeted about Keri Smith, because I don't delete my tweets. Real well, every once in a while I do, but really, I can count on 2 hands the number of tweets I've ever deleted, unless there was a typo and I had to fix it and then I retweeted it. So any person is welcome to go through my Twitter history and look at every single time I've talked about Keri Smith publicly, and it is always universally when Keri Smith is talking about me. Okay? So we're going to go through these tweets and I'm going to explain some things and we're going to talk about what they mean. This tweet here is Keri's original tweet about the essay. Just saying I wrote this essay. Keri, of course, got all sorts of sympathy from the bullying horde. They were all like, Keri, you are beautiful and stunning and brave. And we are so sorry that you are being tortured at the hands of this vapid narcissist. Now, we just read Keri's entire article. I mean, I don't understand what evidence Keri provided in that article that I had done anything. But Other people seem to think that she did. So Keri's just like responding to people there. This is Keri responding to that. Hang on, I'm gonna try to make these bigger for you guys. So this is December 14th. This is around the time when my former writing partner, whatever business partner, he released private messages about me on the internet. And so this also coincided with that. And so we're gonna see several tweets of Keri basically what was happening was Keri was trying to take advantage of the situation to get more people to hate me. So she was basically using the fact that this guy was releasing private information about me to say, "Oh, look, someone else hates Carlin too. Let's make it more people hate Carlin." Again, I don't blame him for this. I blame him. I'm not happy that he released private information out of context, but I don't blame him for Keri's actions. But that's the context of what you're going to see in a lot of this. So in this one, Keri is responding to this poetry painter person. Again, this is a crazy conservative lady. She says, I have been contacted by 4 of her former cult members now. 2 of them have what they described as psychological trauma. It's a doozy. I can tell you exactly who Keri was contacted by. She was contacted by my former business partner, which he didn't contact her, I'm going to guess. She reached out to him. She was contacted by Justice Graves. She was contacted by Deb Philman. And there's one other person that's kind of been staying out of this. So I'm not going to use her name because she's not really involved in this. And I want to say, too, the person who released the private messages, he hasn't been involving himself with this as much. And it is my strong hope, that he will continue to not involve himself in this. But that's why I'm not mentioning their names. Yeah, so Sin points out, yes, exactly. Keri thinks that everyone who supports me is in a cult. That's exactly correct. All right, moving on. This is Keri Smith also on December 14th. She's retweeting the private messages. She's saying, if you want a taste of what it's like to try to end a relationship with a cluster B personality, here you go. So, of course, in this, she's not seeing the full context of what happened. Of course it is. There's always more than one person involved in a relationship. So she's got this person here saying, oh, wow, thanks. It's more my father who has been a lifelong victim of it's it's more my father who has been the lifelong victim of this person than me, but I also have minor incidents. So apparently I've been harassing someone's father? I don't know what that's about. I have no idea what this is about. I feel kind of bad because I used to think my father was exaggerating or that the person couldn't be that manipulative. I know better now. I have absolutely no idea who that's about. If someone wants to inform me about who that's about, like, please let me know. I truly have no idea what that's about. That happens all the time. Is like people bring up stuff to Keri that I truly have no idea what they're talking about, and they just make up stories like it's real. And then Keri says, "That's common." Keri basically is like a counselor to anyone that hates me. All right. Next up, we've got Keri responding here. This person saying, exposing these narcissists for what they have is the only solution. And Keri responds, I agree. Otherwise, they become Hillary. This is what Keri was. Okay, so this is the first tweet that was sent. I should do this. This is the first tweet that was sent. Basically, she's retweeting my former business partner again. She's saying, I will absolutely make sure you have an impact. Well, she's saying something I threatened him with that I never actually did. She's saying that I have perverted priorities, narcissism, delusion of grandeur, large ego, but low self-esteem. I don't know why Keri is talking about me having low self-esteem because that's projection. Well, all of this is, well, I don't think Keri's a narcissist. I do think Keri has low self-esteem. The inability. Okay, so here's one of the things they do. They always try to trick people into believing that I have no friends. This is important. This is an important part of the story. So you know how we've had people in the chat saying, I've been supporting you forever and I am unsubscribing. So that's gaslighting. These are people I don't recognize their names at all, right? So what these people try to do is they try to convince people that no one likes me and I have no friends. Now, this is provably not true on like a couple of different levels. But that's going to become relevant when we get to January 30th, okay? Put this one in your back pocket. Is the entire mission of Keri's little mob for the past year and a half has been to convince people that I have no friends and that no one likes me. And this is going to become relevant later in the story. Okay. Then we have this person responding, and Keri is agreeing that I'm a narcissist. This is my former business partner. Basically, he's trying to make we had a rough falling out. It wasn't as dramatic as he's making it out to be. That's a different story. But she's basically saying, like, yes, I am that person. She's retweeting him again with she's sending out memes making fun of me, trying to make it seem like I'm like an abusive crazy person that isn't real. This is just more of that. This is he did I think this was a mistake on his part, whatever. He publicly denounced me during the Holocaust pylon, and Keri responded to him, and this is when Keri started taking advantage of him. And tried to manipulate him to get back at me. Check this one out. This is recognize our crazy bird here. This is Poetry Painter, the person that Keri referenced in her article, providing evidence that I'm a Poetry Painter's expert psychological evaluation of me being a malignant narcissist. This person is now posting memes of me on the internet. And she says, in case this is the meme that Carlin had accused Keri of making, first of all, I'm offended. I made this meme after seeing Carlin talk about Porkfest. So apparently, Keri went to Porkfest last. Here's where this meme is from. Keri, no, Joshua's a friend. Joshua's fine. No, Joshua's fine. So here's where this meme is from. Porkfest is a libertarian festival in the middle of the woods. As you might imagine, a fair amount of pot is smoked at Porkfest. Keri went to Porkfest. I went to Porkfest because I live in New Hampshire. I was walking around the campground one day at Porkfest by myself. It was like very early on in the event, and I was just walking around trying to get a lay of the land. I was really stoned because that's what happened at Porkfest. Okay. I was really stoned. I was walking around the campground, and I happened to walk by Keri and Carter's campsite where they were selling Unsafe Space merchandise. Now, the reason I knew this is because I heard Carter's voice, and he has a distinctive voice, and I recognized it immediately. And again, like, I was really stoned. And so I was like, no, this is what's going on in my head. I'm like, no, I am not equipped at this moment to handle this situation. And I ran away. I ran away. And where I ran into was a tent. And in that tent was a buffet of drugs, the likes of which I had never seen before in my life. And I was mesmerized by this buffet. And what happened was they saw me run into the tent and they thought I was hiding from them, when in fact I was just mesmerized by the display of drugs that I had stumbled upon. But apparently they're really this whole community is like really perturbed by the fact that I like smoke weed. And I mean, I'm sorry, but I do, like, not all the time. But that's why they like make my like okay, if you're going to a libertarian festival in the middle of the woods, like, you are the odd man out if you're not getting high. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Anyway, so this person tweeted, I made this meme after seeing Carlin talk about Porkfest. I am not part of Unsafe Space and wasn't there. This meme is based on events Carlin had described herself. And Keri responded to this. She says, that wasn't even it. Though I wouldn't be shocked if she blamed me for that too. No, this is one she made of herself as a witch. It was gross. Jesse Somolet level psychopathy. Have I made a meme of myself as a witch? I'm honestly asking, have I made a meme of myself as a witch that I've forgotten about? Because I don't know what she's talking about. This is another case where Keri is tweeting about me and I have no effing idea what she's talking about. All right. This is Keri responding to Adam. Now, we know Adam has been pulled into this little group. And, which is fine. Adam can do whatever he wants. He's a big boy. But so Adam tweets about not like Mike Harlow's going to be on a show. And Keri responds, this is why the verse You shall know them by their fruits is so real. I take people in good faith, like I did Carlin, unless I find they are of bad character. I judge a person's character on how well they behave, on how well their behavior matches their words. Her behavior is the opposite of her words. So notice, no one in this oh no, she I didn't even see this. Whether one believes me about the good doctor or not. Though I think most people can see what she is now. They can see this in others with bad intent. So I have not been mentioned in this tweet at all. But because I'm involved in this and Mike Harlow likes to try to start feuds with me for clout. So Keri's like, "Oh, someone hates Carlin. I have to come into the conversation and talk about how much I hate Carlin, even though I'm not involved in this at all." This happens all the time. This is on December 16th. She's responding to the quartering here. Now, the quartering got into a little dispute with the LPNH. So I've talked to you guys about how I have been banned from attending school board meetings for yelling, "We know where you live" at a school board meeting. I was not the only person from the LPNH who was banned from school board meetings. There have been minimally 3 of us that have been banned from school board meetings. But so this was the night where I was tweeting about this with different LPNH members, and the quartering saw this and he decided to get involved. So I said, so this was the night of that school board meeting. So we gotta have the lay of the land. This was the night of that epic school board meeting. And I was like on fire. I was like, that felt so good. And so I was tweeting about it. And I said, so I was going back and forth with the quartering. So what the reason that I yelled, "We know where you live" at this school board meeting is this school board was literally covering up for pedophiles. This school board had 2 teachers that had inappropriately touched middle school students, and they never told the parents about it. And there was other stuff going on too. This school board screwed up in a monumental way. And as evidence of that, after this school board meeting, the day after this school board meeting, the superintendent resigned. So we actually won. We won. We got the superintendent to resign. So Jeremy had started flaming me on Twitter. And on this one, I had tweeted, I was going back and forth with him because he didn't know what he was talking about. And I was like, "Dude, you don't know what you're talking about." And so I said, I was like, "Why are you afraid of making people who literally allowed pedophiles to teach children in middle school feel uncomfortable? They're public officials. Their addresses are public record. If they don't like that, they shouldn't hold public office." Which to me makes sense. Quartering retweeted and said, "You sound like an unhinged leftist. No wrong tactics, only wrong targets, right? Be better." So now what he doesn't know, and this got him to shut up right quickly. What he doesn't know is shouting, "We know where you live," or using the hashtag "make tyrants afraid again." That wasn't my tactic. He's calling me a leftist for these tactics, but they weren't my tactics. They're Jeremy Kauffman's tactics. Jeremy Kauffman came up with those tactics. Who is Jeremy Kauffman? Jeremy Kauffman is the founder of Library and Odyssey. Jeremy Kauffman is a libertarian, staunch libertarian, free stater, running for Senate. And the minute that Jeremy found out that these were not my tactics, but they were Jeremy Kauffman's tactics, and I was implementing the tactics because Jeremy Kauffman couldn't be at that particular school board meeting, and I was representing in his stead, he stopped talking about the tactics. But he wanted to dunk on me because it was a convenient time to dunk on me, right? But the minute he found out those weren't my tactics, he shut up right quickly. But Keri, of course, now Keri has not been involved in this conversation at all. Again, not been involved at all. There's been a call. Someone hates Carlin. Oh my God, Keri has to swoop in and talk about how much she hates Carlin. So she responds to the quartering, narrator, "But she would not be better, for she could not be better." Moving on. So this is Keri responding to the quartering again. And this time, this is the same issue. This is the same Twitter fight. This time, Keri is deliberately going into the quartering's feed. Again, we are talking about a school board meeting in this feed. We are talking about a school board meeting in which the school board has covered up for pedophiles. And Keri Smith swoops into the replies, bringing information that has nothing to do with anything and saying, let me show you all the ways that Carlin is a horrible person. It's like, Keri, can we focus on the fact that the school board is covering for pedophiles? She's like, no, that is unimportant. We need to talk about how Carlin is a horrible person. Do you guys see what this is? Like, the tweets that she responded to have nothing to do with what the subject matter is. She's just like, I have an opportunity to smear Carlin. I'm going to smear Carlin. And she's saying, basically she's trying to these are things out of context that we've already talked about. So I'm not going to keep going. But let's move on. December 18th. So we are now only at 6 days after that article is posted. So we can see this is the Twitter account talking about me, Keri Smith. What I'm showing here is basically Keri Smith interacting with a stalker Twitter account. And a lot of the tweets I'm going to show you guys is like, Keri calls me a stalker, but Keri literally spends her days interacting with a stalker Twitter account. That this account only exists to bully me and harass me. That's all this is. So while Keri Smith is spending her days interacting with a stalker Twitter account about me, she's then calling me a stalker. Let's see. This is more evidence of Keri interacting with this stalker account. She says in this one, she says, Somalet used people. Carlin uses people too. Often unsuspecting people who have no idea what they're a part of or who these enemies of hers are that they're being recruited to attack. Now, my locals members can attest to this. My locals members spend hours a week on Zoom with me in private that is not recorded. And so if I was really recruiting people to go attack Keri, my locals members would know about this. I want people in the chat to say, like, have I ever we had a 3.5-hour Zoom call today. Have I ever told any of my locals members to go and attack Keri or her horde? Has that ever happened in the past year and a half? I really want to allow my locals members to chat in because I know you guys are in the chat. I can see you. Let me know in the chat if I have ever asked any of you to go and attack Keri and her horde like she's asserting here. Nope, not once, Carlin. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Not once. Nope. Grandma Nay has never heard it. Patrice says, I don't really know much about Keri because Carlin doesn't even focus on her. Reagan says, I never did. Never. Naughty One says never. Brooks says nope, it's never happened. Sarah says it's never happened. Incognito says, I have flat out told my locals members, do not go after them. Mommy says no. If anyone would like to provide any evidence that I tell people to go after them, I would really like to see it. Yeah, Connie says, I didn't know anything about Keri until recently. I've never heard you say anything until now. Patrice says, yeah, true. Carlin actually says, don't go after people. John says, nope. Nope. Jenny's getting yanky with it. Says, you say the same thing on Zoom as you have here. Basically, you've never advocated for pylons. Gypsy Witch Production says, I've never told them that. Melissa says, nope. Sam even says, yesterday I had to ask who she was. It hasn't been discussed. Annabelle says, this is the first time I've ever heard about it. Right. This has been going on for a year and a half. A year and a half. Jared points out also, Carlin, she is saying we are puppets and cultists and recruited soldiers for you. She's all over. Yeah, that's exactly it. Keri thinks that you guys are all in a cult. Jaya says, you have never encouraged us to do that. You never even tell us to stop watching people. Olivia says, I've seen you say not to go after people many times. So this shit has been going on for a year and a half. And my locals members, My locals members who I do 6 hours on Zoom with privately every single week don't even know about this and have never heard about this from anyone. Keri is projecting here because what Keri has done is create a little mob of people that bully me every day. And so she is projecting what she has done onto me. Patrice says, how you know Carlin truly has her eye on the important stuff. She doesn't take time to attack others. And quite frankly, Patrice, I'm really pissed off that I have to do this stream right now. You guys know this was not even how I wanted to spend this stream. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. Brandon says, I didn't even know you had this beef until now. Exactly. Exactly, because I'm not the one who's obsessed here. Keri is the one who's obsessed. She goes on to say Britt Marie was one of her biggest attack dogs. Britt Marie used to be a member of my locals. Britt Marie would spend her days defending me on Twitter. I never asked her to. In fact, I told her not to. Britt Marie became obsessed with me. She would DM me all the time. She would beg me to call her. And I would say no, because I have boundaries in life and I don't do that. I don't do that with anyone. I don't even do that with my in real life friends, let alone like people I know on the internet. No offense to anyone, but that's just the way it is. So when I refused when finally I ended up blocking Britt Marie because I just couldn't take it anymore. To be quite honest, it was just too much. It was too obsessive. She then found her way over to Keri. And now Britt Marie, you can look at that stalker Twitter account. Britt Marie talks about me all the effing time. All the time. We're not going to go back, but that's who she's talking about there. And by the way, Britt Marie was going through some shit that she told my locals community about in a community Zoom. I begged her to go to therapy. She really needs therapy. She really, really does. I begged her to go to therapy. Members of my locals community actually contacted me and said, we will pay for therapy for her. That's what my locals community is like. My locals community, we genuinely take care of each other. We genuinely support each other. She had come to one of our community Zooms and talked about what she was going through, and members of my community offered to pay for her therapy. And now she's running around on Twitter with Keri Smith's horde, talking about how horrible a person I am all day, every day. Anyway. So Keri says, Britt Marie is one of her biggest attack dogs, but attack dogs get abused by the NPD2. That's narcissistic personality disorder. So Keri is insinuating that I abused Brittany when I did no such thing. All I did was block Brittany because Brittany was crossing way too many boundaries for my comfort level. I imagine it must be very hard to realize you are being used, to walk away from having a narcissistic personality disorder and have them turn on you, probably like leaving a cult, but nothing for prayers for her. Emphasize says, is she implying that groups on locals are cults? No, she's just implying that my locals is a cult. That's what she's doing. Just my locals. Hey, Derek, good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a minute. I'm missing your tweets, dude. I loved your tweets. All right. Moving on. This is this account. Holy shit. This So Justice account. This is so creepy. Oh, hang on. I just made the wrong thing bigger. Okay. So what you're seeing here is, so back when my former business partner and I were still getting along, we decided to play a prank on Unsafe Space because Keri was whining about me obsessively, like all the time. And so he, not me, I didn't create this, but he created this image that looked like a GoFundMe. And it was basically an image of like people that I've blocked on Twitter raising money so they can get emotional support. And we jokingly used Keri Smith and Cassandra Fairbanks's initials simply because those two were harassing me on Twitter quite a bit at the time. And so we made this image, or he made it. I didn't even make it. I don't know how to do this. He made this image that made it look like they'd set up a GoFundMe to raise money to pay for their therapy to get over the fact that I blocked them on Twitter. And I basically tweeted it out saying, who did this? Now, he wasn't on the joke. He knew what was going on and he enjoyed every second of it. But Keri's mob found it and they were so perturbed that they have been whining about this practical joke ever since. It was a prank because they were annoying me And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Yes, I like to have fun sometimes when people annoy me. And they were so annoyed by the fact that he made this image. This is the same person that they recruited after we had a falling out to try to show what a horrible person I am. He made this image. And they were so perturbed at this that they have been talking about it ever since. So this So Justice account was like stalking me for a while, trying to figure out like who actually made this image. And then Keri down at the bottom says, "Wow, the parody account linked me here. She just admitted today that the image originated from her. No, the image did not originate from me. The image originated from Kieran." Yeah, duh. And by the way, I never said that it didn't come from me. Well, no, I guess I did because like I didn't make it. I just tweeted it out. It came from Kieran. Kieran made it. Sorry. Yeah, duh. Jussie Smollett. She had Kieran make it and then used it to smear me, accusing me of everything that it's been doing, psychopath. I didn't have Kieran make it. Kieran did that on his own because he wanted to surprise me and have a little bit of fun. I never told Kieran to make this image. If Kieran says I have, he's lying. Probably because he's trying to ingratiate himself to them, like whatever. But I never told anyone. I didn't even know Kieran could do that. So we had a little bit of fun. We played a practical joke. This was back in July. This image was made in July. I know it's because it was at the same time that I went to VIP Art Weekend. And it was made back in July. And Keri is still talking about this meme in December because she's still insane about it. This is on December 21st. She's saying, played a prank because it was a prank. I'm sorry. It was a prank. It was a prank that they fell for. It was a successful prank. That is what a successful prank is. But Keri, of course, has no sense of humor. So she says, played a prank equals publicly defaming me and Cassandra Fairbanks and Unsafe Space for months by accusing us publicly of making this attack meme about her when she and her friend Kieran made it and even directed him to put my name on it. She's a low-rent Jussie Smollett. Keep in mind that Keri literally tweeted this out 9 days after she wrote an essay on Substack calling me her abusive mother. Keri Smith, at the point where she tweeted this out, so offended that I played a prank on her. She tweeted this out 9 days after she wrote an entire essay about me, calling me her abusive mother. After a year and a half of tweeting that I'm a narcissist, I'm a sociopath, I'm a con artist, I'm a stalker, I played a prank. Maybe not the most mature thing to do, but it was a successful prank nonetheless. It was harmless at the end of the day. Keri has been attacking me for months, over a year. Wrote a whole essay about how I'm a narcissist, malignant effing narcissist that reminds her of her abusive mother and Hitler and a rapist. But I'm the horrible person for playing a prank. Okay. Moving on. This is where Keri is responding to Kieran. Kieran was very stunning and brave. And again, I don't actually think this is his fault. And Kieran here is lying. He's lying, but he's doing it because he's trying to ingratiate himself. I can forgive him for that. He said, I have nothing to hide. This was always meant to be a joke for her only. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's not the truth. We both talked about releasing it publicly just to needle them. That's not, and he enjoyed every second of it. He enjoyed every second of it. And he says otherwise, he's lying. I'm sorry. However, now seeing this insanity in all one thread, wow, I won't lie or prop up liars. She has no power over me. I will try to tell the truth and let the cards land where they may. Okay, Kieran obviously had a moment there. We're going to forgive him of that because he is young and he was being manipulated. Keri responded, thank you for confirming she did this, Kieran. Again, I didn't do it. Kieran did it. He did it as a surprise. It was a prank. This is no big deal. When people play pranks, it's sometimes fun. And now they're trying 6 months after we made a meme that pissed her off. Can I remind you guys? Hang on. Can I just remind you guys? Is this a prank? Are all the memes that they've made about me, is this like the end of the world? No, this is not the end of the world. This is not, it's a fucking meme. I'm sorry, Keri has 25,000 followers on Twitter. Keri is going to have memes made about her. She's just going to have to accept it. But she's 6 months later carrying this shit on. Thank you confirming she did this, Kieran, and for showing how much disgusting glee she took in fooling her followers into thinking Unsafe Space or I or Cassandra made this to attack her when it came from her all along. She doesn't care who she uses or hurts. It was a meme. Cassandra Fairbanks literally has naked bondage photos on the internet. Do you think that her initials used on a fake GoFundMe meme really bother her? I don't think it does, but let's move on. This is so Mikey and Keri are like this. Mikey is tweeting Carlin versus reality. This is back in December. So back on December 21st, my house of lies was crumbling. They try to convince people that I have no friends. Carlin, her house of lies is crumbling. We now have proof that she and her friend made this image. She used it for weeks. No, I used it for about a week. Blaming it on Keri and Unsafe Space to falsely accuse them of harassment and bullying. If Jessie Somolet was a rotund butch white woman. So they accuse me of harassing and bullying. But Mikey, almost every single day on his Twitter, calls me butch, calls me fat, calls me crispy, which is meant to refer to bacon or a pig. He calls me a hog beast. Every single day. And I'm showing you this because Keri, of course, retweeted it because every time there's drama, Keri has to be involved. Moving on. This is Keri just responding to that stalker account again. It really is nothing. She's just got happy faces. But just I want to demonstrate. I want to demonstrate the fact that Keri responds and interacts with an account that only exists to stalk me and harass me all the time. This is on December 27th. This is one of my favorites. This is when I responded to Zuby because Zuby said that Twitter, he likes Twitter because it's the only social media platform where people can't hide their truth personalities. I don't agree with that. Like, I've said this a million times. I treat Twitter as performance art. So I responded to him saying, I kind of disagree with this. Like, are you serious? And he responded to me saying, very serious. Now, you'll notice in the course of this Twitter exchange, Keri has not been mentioned at all in any way. No one has said anything about Keri in this Twitter exchange with Zuby. But what does Keri do? She stalks my replies. She stalked that I was responding to Zuby, and she swooped in saying, "Isn't Carlin a horrible person? Isn't Carlin? Here's evidence that Carlin is a horrible person." Like she always does. Keri says, Borisenko is the same person online as she is off. That's for sure. Again, as a reminder, I have not spoken to Keri Smith since October of 2020, and I have had probably 3 conversations with her in my entire life. And she just randomly, like me replying to Zuby, resulted in Keri swooping in and saying, Carlin is a horrible person. Let's show evidence that Carlin is a horrible person. Like no one has said anything about her. Moving on. This is another stalker account. So you can see the stalker account is doing what they do. You've got this anonymous account. I'll try to make this bigger for you guys. Saying, I wonder why Carlin might be attracted to a belief system that allows people to live lives of unmitigated evil without ever being punished. So Keri, being a new Christian, is very perturbed at the fact that I am not a Christian, as many Christians are. And so my belief system, which I've only recently started talking about, like this is perturbing for her, right? And so she responds, there you go. This person is saying, why might Carlin want to live a life of unmitigated evil? And Keri is saying, yep. Sean, thank you for the support. Sean is one of my real life friends. I know Carlin in real life and she is great. Thank you, Sean, for that support. I appreciate it. Moving on. Guys, we are not even halfway. We are going through every single tweet Keri Smith has sent about me since December 12th. That's 2 months. We are not even halfway through the tweets. But we're going to keep going. We're going to power through because I'm sick of this shit. This is Keri tweeting about me again. She's tweeting, responding. So the stalker account, the stalk like Cernovich tweeted something about narcissists. Um, so the stalker account tweeted it. Keri responds, something I obviously didn't get all the responses here, but she's obviously talking about me, who she used in a different way. So sometimes she's saying that I used people to attack others. So again, she thinks you guys are a cult that just runs around and attacks people. She says all of her friendships are fake, but in every single one, she is trying to use someone. Narcissistic sociopaths don't have actual friends. So Keri thinks that I have no, again, they try to paint this picture all the time that I have no friends and that like I'm just a narcissistic sociopath. And then she says, by the way, the first person I thought of when I read this description of his was Borisenko. And what she's saying, what Cernovich said was, this psycho has always seemed off. He tried too hard to get close to people. People self-promote, but this guy was on something else, like way too hard. So Keri Smith's retweeting that and saying, oh, I thought of Carlin when I read this. Again, no one has even brought me up into the conversation. This is Keri literally responding to the stalker account. Sam says, is what Keri doing Christ-like? Is she an unrepentant sinner? I wonder what her church who cancels people will think of this. That is a great question, Sam. Now, I am not going to encourage anyone to try to cancel anyone else, but since Keri's church seems to excommunicate unrepentant sinners, I do wonder what Keri Smith's church, in all of Christ's loving, forgiving glory, would think about the fact that she's doing this shit on the internet. Brandon seems Siraj needs to put them on the list. Siraj can go F himself. That's how I feel about Siraj. That's how I feel about Siraj. This is Keri again, just responding. So this person is tweeting about me. Legend says that if you say narcissist 3 times in the mirror, she will appear. Because this is what this stalker account does. They fan people up to just tweet about me all day. Keri responds, gross. Here's another one. Keri is, so I played another prank. Because again, I've been dealing with this shit for a year and a half, so I will admit that anytime I get a chance to just get a dig in at Keri or Unsafe Space, I will do it. And so what I did is I went on Gitter and I registered the Unsafe Space handle on Gitter. I do. I am the current owner of the Unsafe Space handle on Gitter, and I made it with an upside down logo, and I said Unsafe Space non-SJW version. I still have that account. That account's going to come up later, okay? We're going to see that later, but this pissed them off, and I knew it was going to piss them off, but that's why I did it, because, you know, I have to take my moments where I can find my moments, and it's just really amusing to me that I own the Unsafe Space account on Gitter. Lewis says, I watched that video where you got owned talking about your belief system. That child, like everywhere else, never is an honest broker when speaking to you. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Lewis, but I thank you for the super chat. I don't watch videos about myself because why? So anyway, I have just procured, we're finally into January. Okay. I have just procured the Unsafe Space account on Gitter. And they're pissed off about this. And Mikey tweeted, first thing, Butch, again, because this is one of their lovely little nicknames for me. Here, I'll try to make this bigger. First thing Butch does on a new platform is go after Keri. Well, it wasn't the first thing I did. I actually got on Gitter in July, and I didn't register the Unsafe Space account until January. Patrice says maybe you can make a trade. Patrice, it's funny that you say that. Keep that in your back pocket for right now. It's funny that you say that. We're going to talk about that later. And okay, so Keri retweets it and says, one hallmark of a narcissistic sociopath is that they won't let people simply walk away from them or cut them out of their lives. They push in repeatedly, stalking, harassing, despite blocks. Despite the other person saying nothing about them, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Now, keep in mind that up until this point, we've already seen several dozen tweets of no one saying anything about Keri. And Keri swooping into the conversation saying, let me tell you how much I hate Carlin and how much of a bitch Carlin is. I've shown you dozens of examples just in 1 month of time where Keri Smith has gone out of her way to talk about how she thinks I'm a narcissistic sociopath when no one has said anything about her at all. And so I find it a little ironic that she's saying here that one of the hallmarks of a narcissistic sociopath is they won't let people simply walk away or cut them out of their lives. Because Keri Smith won't just walk away. I have asked Keri Smith to walk away, and I'm going to show proof of that later. And so then this person responds, I've had some experiences with people like this. Is exactly how you describe it. It really messes with your head. And Keri says, yes, yes, I think so true. Hey, JB. I was a little upset that clown account went away, but thank you for your service, my friend. I appreciated it. It was good fun for a day and a half, JB. I have to give you that. All right. This is okay. So what happened? So here is how obsessed Unsafe Space is with me. Is I actually got the entire horde of bullies to leave Twitter and get over on Gitter. I actually when I registered that Unsafe Space account on Gitter, I facilitated a move of over a dozen people who got onto Gitter just so they could start harassing me on Gitter. But of course, they still took screenshots and brought them back to Twitter. So what you're seeing here is one of the bullies that went after me on Gitter is like this young gay kid, and he obviously like had a crush on Mikey, and he started like trolling my Gitter account. And finally I looked at his account and I said you admitted in the video on your timeline that you have mental illness, which he did. He put a video out saying he has mental illness. I'm not making anything up. And I said, well, there is no shame in that. What exactly do you expect me to take? Why exactly do you expect me to take advice from you? And then I said, and I was being a little bit bratty here. Let's not front. I said, you know who hates mental illness though? Mike Harlow. Mike Harlow hates boys with mental illness. He once snooped through his boyfriend's drawers and found a big old bag of pills and flipped out because he refuses to date men with mental health problems. And I know that because Mike Harlow called me as he was snooping through his boyfriend's drawers and spent 2 hours on the phone with me talking about, do I break up with him? He told me he wasn't on any medication, and now I found this big bag of psychiatric medication by snooping through his drawers. Mike Harlow hates when people are on psychiatric medication. He has a real thing about it. Listen, he can decide who he dates, who he wants, but I basically had a conversation with this kid where I was like, Mike Harlow's never going to date you if you're posting videos on your account where you have a mental illness. That's just speaking fact. I may have been bratty, and I will admit to that, but that is fact. And so Mikey takes the screenshot, posts it on Twitter. He says, breaking. Dude who has written extensively about being a crazy bitch in dating is, in fact, a crazy bitch. Not why we broke up. We broke up because we weren't in love. Whatever. And then Keri responds saying, this is vile. And then, of course, she goes on to retweet this. Again, something that Keri Smith is not involved with at all. Goes on to retweet this, saying, Carlin is absolutely vile. Moving on. This is again them complaining about the Gitter account. We've already covered that. Okay. On January 9th, Keri says she's responding to the stalker account and to Kieran. Oh wow. How many posts is she done about me now? I don't read them, but given how many of you share, I'm guessing over 50 across platforms on day one I signed up for Gitter alone. Probably approaching 1,000 total. She thinks people can't see this. Narcissistic personality disorder is blinding. So Keri in this tweet is complaining about how much I post about her. When in fact, we are not even halfway through 2 months of tweets that Keri Smith has posted about me. Wait, is the stalker account going nuts now? Oh, I bet they are. Hi. Hi, stalker account. Hi. Is Carter from Unsafe Space in this madness too, or is he staying out of it? I have to give Carter a lot of credit. He has stayed out of it. So I don't have a beef with Carter. I actually think Carter's a really cool, like really intelligent guy, and I'm actually like really upset that I didn't get a chance to get to know him better because of this beef with Keri. I have no issue with Carter at all. He has stayed out of it for the entire time, to the very best of my knowledge. I don't know what conversations go on behind the scenes, but I have no issue with Carter at all. None at all. Let's see. Here's Keri responding to someone else. This is on January 9th. Having left a friendship that was pretty toxic with a person who reminds me so much of her. Again, like every single one of them seem to have friends that remind them of me, but that are not actually me. I totally understand the impulse to connect with those who see the truth. And Keri says, yes, a lot of people who become her targets end up reaching out to the old ones, both to apologize and to process. So Keri in this tweet is basically admitting that she runs a support group for people who hate me or who have been blocked on me by Twitter. Now, or blocked on Twitter by me. Sorry, I've been talking for almost 2 hours now, so my voice is a little weird. But Keri is basically admitting to running a group of people who are upset that I have blocked them on Twitter, or they're upset with me for some other reason. Like, how insane is that? Like, I don't keep in touch with people who I have common enemies with. I don't follow stalker accounts. I don't think about them all day, every day. It's actually insane. Moving on, we've got Keri responding to this stalker account again. Oh, geez, there we go. So, stalker account, basically, I made a post on Getter talking about Keri. It's a long post. You guys can go back and look. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically, I said I don't like telling people what content to watch or not to watch, what influencers to follow or not. People should watch what they like, follow who they follow. But why is literally every person connected to Keri Smith from Unsafe Space turns into a lying mean girl bully? So basically, I'm starting to call them a horde or the mean girls at this point, because it's like, again, at this point, this had been going on for over a year. Yeah, graphically, Alex says, Keri, if you have to fight so hard to prove you are right, you may be wrong. Exactly. So Keri responds again. This person says, this is borderline obsessive behavior. I'm literally worried for your safety, Keri. I say that without sarcasm. Keri responds saying, I know. And it's borderline obsessive, and it's full on obsessive. What people see from her online, and there's a lot to see, is only half of it. She's like this, and even worse with a few people. I have had 3 conversations with Keri Smith in my entire life, and I haven't spoken to her since October of 2020. I know I keep saying that, but every single time that Keri tries to insinuate that she knows who I am in real life, there are people in the chat right now who have talked with me more than 3 times this week, 3 times in the last week, let alone 3 times ever in the whole history of my life. Sarah says, Keri needs the Holy Spirit gift of wisdom. Oh, wouldn't that be nice, Sarah? Wouldn't that be nice? Jared says, by the way, I've told you countless times I'm not even on Twitter. And guess how many times Carlin has tried manipulating me into stalking her enemies online? Never. Never. Moving on. We're about at the halfway point, guys. We're about at the halfway point. So this is Mikey. This I'm bringing up. This is not about me. I'm just showing this for posterity because it's going to come up later. On January 10th, keep this all in mind, Mikey Harlow tweets about having health problems. And Keri says, you are loved, Mikey. Now, that's not either here nor there. I don't want anyone to be sick, but just keep this in your back pocket because this is going to come up later. All right. So, okay. So this is the point. Okay. So I have burner accounts. I do. I have many burner accounts. Some of the burner accounts that I have on Twitter were designed specifically to see if Kieran was hate watching my content. Because we weren't talking and we weren't friendly, but I was curious about whether or not he was hate watching my content. And so what I would do, and I admit, again, this is a little sneaky, is I would create burner accounts that like were kind of playful or just like different things. And I would purposefully just here's what I'll do. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys what I did. Okay, let me show you guys hang on, let me just check something real quick. Okay, let me show you guys this Twitter thing. Now, if I have the screen on Twitter wide enough, here it will display the name of my burner account. You see it's not displayed right now because I don't want you knowing the name of my burner account. But what I was doing in creating burner accounts is I was monitoring whether or not people who were talking with Keri were hate watching my content. Because what would happen is I would do a stream, I would purposely reveal the name of the burner account here. And then, like a couple hours after the stream, I would check to see if I was blocked from their accounts. And if I was blocked, I knew they were still hate watching my content, which they do all the time. So this was a purposeful thing. I don't really use burner accounts for much of anything, quite honestly. I have a ton of burner accounts, mostly just to annoy them because I knew it did, because they were annoying me and making my life miserable. And so again, I will do what I need to do in order to keep myself amused in 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 the context of being obsessively stalked and bullied and harassed on the internet by a group of people. So they've started to discover at this point that I have burner accounts, like everyone and their mother does. And they're highly offended. They are highly offended that they cannot control me from creating more burner accounts. Like I will create as many burner accounts as I damn well please. Let me see if I can make this bigger. That might help. I will create as many burner accounts as I damn well please, and they can't do anything about it. And they're really upset about it. So, oh, now I can't read it. Oh, God. Okay. Keri says, that was not helpful at all. Now okay, we're going to go back to that. Keri says, Carlin she's responding to the stalker account. She has several sock puppet accounts she uses to stalk people, not just privately, but publicly as well. People have sent screenshots of her spending time in videos scrolling through and reading her target's tweets from a sick puppet account. Now, this is like, yeah, I mean, exactly. I don't know what video she's talking about, but I do have burner accounts that I use to look at tweets. Sorry. I can't figure out if she genuinely thinks everyone is like her, that everyone does deranged stuff like this, or if she knows that there is really something wrong with her. Now, let's keep in mind that Keri Smith interacts with an account. I have Keri Smith blocked on everything, but Keri Smith sees all my tweets because she purposely follows and interacts with an account that is blocked from my Twitter that just reposts all my tweets. So I don't know how this is different than having a burner account. To me, this is actually worse than having a burner account. I don't do anything with my burner accounts. Nothing is done with them. But Keri is following an account whose literal mission it is to make my life effing miserable. All right, moving on. Here's another example of Keri interacting with a burner account, or with this stalker account. Now she's responding to Nigel. Nigel has been interacting with this stalker account ever since I blocked him on Twitter. Nigel hates me because I blocked him on Twitter. And he's saying, again with the stalking, because here I'm talking about people stalking me. And they actually have they have a screenshot. You can actually see in this screenshot where I'm purposefully displaying the burner account. They hate watch all my videos. This is what I was testing for. They hate watch all my videos. And you can see here, I'm purposefully displaying the burner account because I'm trying to track if they're hate watching my videos. So they've discovered this. And Nigel says, again with the stalking, literally replying to an account that stalks me all day. Give me a break. KB really does diminish the word by using it to describe a parody account. Oh, that's the difference with this account. They say this is a parody account. That makes it okay. It makes it okay for this account to dox my house. It makes it okay for this account to harass my supporters. It makes this okay for this account to have a burner account where they find every single tweet that I do and send it out on this account because it's just a parody account. It's not a stalker account. And Keri responds, it's the same way social justice racists call everyone racist. She is a stalker. She both diminishes the world and tries to render it meaningless and engages in DARVO by calling all of us stalkers like Kieran her stalker. I've never called Kieran my stalker. I don't believe Kieran is a stalker. I have never called him a stalker. Keri, literally, right here, does call me a stalker because I have burner accounts on Twitter that I'm using to track whether or not they're stalking me. Moving on, Keri, this is just Keri interacting with a stalker account yet again. They like to make fun of my weight all the time. It's really great. This person is responding to this the stalker account saying They're saying, this is insanely psycho. Keri comes in. Yes, Carlin is insanely psycho. This is okay. So she's responding here. This was the Disaffected podcast account. Josh Slocum is involved in this as well, but his account got suspended, and so Keri is responding here to the Disaffected podcast account. So I don't know what the Disaffected podcast account said, but she's saying, yes, it's breathtaking. And then she's saying she has both publicly and privately claimed to get off on stalking, harassing, defaming, and otherwise trying to hurt people. I think it's one of the rare glimpses of honesty from her. She calls it fighting. She gets off on fighting. What she's talking about here is I have talked about in the disc profile how there is something. If any of you have heard my disc profile talks, I know we're guys, we're over 2 hours right now with this bullshit. Again, we're just going through 2 months. Thank you for hanging in. So I've talked about the disc profile on here, where one of the dimensions of the disc profile is called the challenge score. What the challenge score is, it measures how comfortable you are with conflict. I have a very high challenge score. When it comes to conflict, you either like want to dive under the table and hide, you want to avoid conflict, or the other option for that is conflict, frankly, gets you off. Conflict revs you up. You like competition. So what Keri is talking about here is my high challenge score on the disc profile, which I've talked about publicly. And she's trying to twist it to mean something it doesn't mean. Now, I do not shy away from fighting at all, but that's just part of my personality. Like, I'm not afraid of it. I am not afraid of conflict. Keri obviously is very afraid of conflict, which is part of this entire problem. But she's trying to twist this to mean something it didn't mean. Moving on. This is Kieran saying something about delusion. Kieran's basically subtweeting me here. Keri retweets it. I don't really care about that. Oh, here we go with Deb. Deb, okay. So my locals community knows this. I was working on a project with Deb and Kieran and Justice and a woman named Adrian, who hasn't really involved herself in any of this. And then Kieran and I had a falling out. And then Kieran recruited all of them to go work with him and basically tried to steal my idea. Now, I'm crossing my fingers that Kieran has decided to pivot his idea to something that isn't mine. But when I figured this out, basically, I did a stream in my locals saying, these are the thieving interlopers that are trying to steal my idea. You can still go watch the stream in locals. I'm not going to rehash it all here. Deb is one of those people that was involved in this. So what she's doing is now she's pissed off at me because I've exposed her for for basically trying to steal my stuff. And she's not happy. And so she's tweeting at me, and she's doing that. Keri, of course, if Deb is tweeting about her hating me, Keri's going to be involved, and she's inserted herself into that conversation. This is another random account, just like a rando, saying, I feel like her, because they all think I'm obsessed with Keri. I would like Keri to go away. This random account says, I feel like her obsession with you just has to do with how you're obviously not a dramatic person. This is just my intuition speaking, but it seems like your steady demeanor upsets her. And Keri responds, she has accused me and others stalking targets of her. That sentence doesn't make. Keri's essentially saying she has accused me of being a stalker, which I have accused her of being a stalker. She's also accused those of us who are women numerous times of being jealous of her or wanting to be her or something like that. Speaks volumes. Well, I do absolutely think that Keri is jealous that my platform grew a lot faster than her. But when I say they want to be me, I'm not talking about them. So Keri assumes that everything I say in public is about her. We're going to see this come up again. This is going to be another theme. Keri assumes that every single thing I say in public is about her. When I say they want to be me, I'm not talking about Keri. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that I reflect back to Keri everything that she is not. But I don't think Keri Smith wants to be me. I wasn't talking about her. But she assumes that everything I say is about her because she's obsessed with me. All right, moving on. January 21st, this is her retweeting Deb. Deb posted a whole thread on Twitter. Basically, Deb said that I should be grateful that the four of them tried to steal my idea because no one really owns the idea, Carlin. No one can steal an idea that no one owns. Okay. Keri retweeted it and said, and again, this is a situation that Keri is not involved in. This was a situation between me and Deb and Justice and Adrian and Kieran. Keri was not involved in this situation at all in any way. But of course, swoops in because if someone hates Carlin, Keri has to be involved. And she says, some people take a while to be able to see an ideology like social justice is deceitful and dangerous. I did. Some people take a while to be able to see an individual as deceitful and dangerous. People open their eyes in their own timeline. And then Poetry Painter, who we've already talked about, says, you are right. People are beginning to see what she is. It's good. Will her book have a chapter on how to behave so that they are receiving restraining orders and can no longer attend school board meetings? Inquiring minds. Yeah, they were all celebrating when I got kicked out of a school board meeting. And Keri said, something tells me that might not be the first or last restraining order in her life. So Keri, again, is defending a school board that was defending pedophiles, is defending school boards at all, which I really don't understand at all in any way. And again, just as a reminder, the superintendent of that school board resigned. So we won. So I have no problem with that at all. But it's like, so you're going to see a couple things here. One, they're pissed off that I have a book coming out. They're really pissed off that I have a book coming out. They don't like this at all. But you're also going to start to see an escalation, and it's going to culminate when I got nominated for governor. We're going to see it really escalate when I got nominated for governor, but we're going to stick that in our back pocket for right now. This is the stalker account. Oh, this is a fun one. This is the stalker account talking about Joshua. Joshua has gotten roped into this. So the stalker account says, well, looks like it's just you, me, and Joshua. Unless you steal my ideas and the rest of those ingrates want to foot up my ass. And then Keri says, or no, this guy says, and Joshua is only around because she pays him. Anyone who still believes Carlin has to at least admit she must be the worst judge of character in history. She constantly surrounds herself with nothing but traitors and backstabbers. So again, guys, every single one of you that supports me and is in my locals, they continue to say that you're in a cult, that I have like bad judge of character, that I don't have any friends or supporters. Keri responds, imagine needing a retainer of thousands of dollars a month to have a friend. They're literally implying here that Joshua is only my friend because I pay him to be my friend. Now, let's be clear. Joshua and I do have a business relationship. Joshua and I have been working together for years. I pay Joshua, and it's not thousands of dollars a month. Well, it doesn't level out that way. But I pay Joshua to provide me a service of being my life coach. I spend 2 hours a week on calls with Joshua planning things out for my life. He provides me with a service. He is very good at what he does. But Joshua is also my friend. Joshua and I hang out when we can. We go drinking. We get high. We hang out. We go out for dinner or whatever. Like, we have fun. We've gone to movies together. We like when we're in the same place, we can hang out because we are like legitimately friends. So like the assumption that Joshua is only, we do the show together every, do you guys think that Nothing Remotely Controversial is a cash cow? Because it's not. It's a fun show. It's fun. We have fun doing it. But Keri is implying here. By the way, when Keri thought that Joshua quit a long time ago, Keri was like celebrating. Keri's like, Joshua finally got out of it. Joshua finally quit. And then Joshua came back and was like on the show the next week. So Keri was like really upset when Joshua didn't quit. So anyway. Moving on. This is just Mikey Harlow subtweeting me and then Keri Smith retweeting it. Mikey Harlow says, these people generally get along with most people, yet every single one is singularly abusing her and only out to get her. I'm gonna just break the news to you guys. Mikey Harlow does not get along with most people. So I have people in the chat right now that he doesn't get along with. So that's bullshit. But Keri retweeted it anyway, because that's what Keri does. This is Mikey just tweeting about this, and then you'll see that I just have this here because Keri again is inserting herself into something that has nothing to do with her. Okay. This is the stalker account. This is one of the people that's around the stalker account. And basically saying, here's Carlin dunking on someone for listing their Cash App. This was back like last year sometime. And Keri says, she'd be nothing if not a hypocrite. So now Keri's calling me a hypocrite. Probably the nicest thing she's called me. Oh, this is funny. So I got really stoned one night. And I tweeted out, not tweeted, this is on Gitter. So this is the Unsafe Space account that I have on Gitter. And I got really stoned one night and I was like, you know what? I'm just ready to walk away from all of this. I am tired of this feuding. I am tired of it. And I'm thinking in my head, I was like, what if I, as an offering, as a peace offering for registering the account in the first place, what if I offer Keri the Unsafe Space Gitter handle? And so here's what for those of you who ask, like, Carlin, have you ever reached out to Keri to try to have a truce? Okay, let's play this game. I sent a message on the Unsafe Space Gitter account that I own, and I said, you know, it just amazes me. There's a real enemy out there, and yet this whole thing has been a constant distraction. Not everyone needs to be friends, but the least you can do if you care about winning is keeping your strong players in the game. And the reason that I tweeted or whatever, posted this on Gitter is because I was seriously thinking about quitting. Because of this. If I ever quit doing this, it will be because of Keri Smith and this horde of people. I was seriously thinking about quitting. And I continued, why can't it be that everyone minds their own damn business and leaves others who are working towards the same thing alone? This would be my preference. I have priorities that have nothing to do with your mean girl clique. Presumably, you have other things you would rather do as well. Why not just let it go? Walk away if you will. Stop. Leave the other alone. End it. If you end it, here's the offer that I made to them. If you end it to the point that I trust that it's over, I'll give you this account. It's up to you. So I literally said to them, if you stop harassing me, I will just give you this handle and we can all move on. How did Keri respond to that, you ask? Narcissist. Oh, this is just narcissistic behavior. I literally offered to give them the account and walk away. And what did Keri say? Narcissist. I was completely serious about that. If they had stopped harassing me, I would have given them that account. Okay, moving on. This is my friend, Dennis Pratt. Now, you know Dennis. Dennis has been on my channel many times. Dennis was coming on my channel to discuss PorkFest, and he was going to interview me about PorkFest. Now, Keri spoke at PorkFest last year. I didn't create any problems. I tried to stay away from her. I didn't go to her session and stare her down like I kind of wanted to, but I was like, no, just let her be, whatever. I didn't go near her. I tried to stay away. So Dennis, when he was tweeting about our interview, tagged a whole bunch of people. Keri, because she was tagged in the tweet, responded, please don't tag me in anything with Carlin Borisenko. This woman created fake attack images of herself and put my name and Cassandra Fairbanks on them and then used them to defame us. And literally, this posted a tweet from over a month ago that had nothing to do with anything. This tweet had nothing to do with the conversation that was being had. But again, Keri is so offended that her handle is in the same tweet as my handle. that she swoops in and is like, let me tell you about this thing that happened a month ago that you just, this is the reason you need to hate Carlin. And by the way, this thing that she's referencing, this happened in July. This was a meme that was created in July. So Keri is now carrying on about a meme that was created in July, in January, bringing it up out of nowhere to make me look crazy. Oh, this is fun. So sometimes I post tarot spreads in my locals because many of my locals members are into tarot and we have tarot time. So I do tarot spreads every night about a variety of questions, just questions that I have for the day, questions about different relationships I have. And I was doing this one night and I got this tarot spread. And anytime I get a tarot spread that I just find like truly fascinating, I try to make a note to post that in locals. I need to do that more often, to be honest with you. But this is one of those spreads. So, and I did this. Okay, real talk. Sometimes I word just to play around with them, just to fuck with them, because I do like fucking with them. Let me just be blunt. These people talk about me all the time. They have made my life miserable for a year and a half. So sometimes when I get the opportunity, I do like to fuck with them. I will admit it. I will own it. And so sometimes if I know I'm going to post something publicly on Twitter, I phrase it in just the right way where I know that they're going to think it's about them. Now, this tarot spread had nothing to do with them, had nothing to do with any of this. But I phrased it in a way that I knew they would probably gravitate towards. So how does Keri respond to this? Check this out. Keri Smith responds to this stalker account declaring that James Lindsay's not going to sleep with me. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I know. I'm getting a little fiery. I should probably get a little, hang on. Let's light our Palo Santo again. We're gonna do this calm. We're gonna do this calm. We've been at this for almost 2.5 hours now. We're gonna light some more Palo Santo. I'm getting a little fiery. I don't want to be pissed off. Let's just ruminate on the fact that Keri out of nowhere responded to a thread on an account stalking me, saying James Lindsay is never going to sleep with you. Does that seem a little crazy for anyone else? Seems a little bit crazy to me. That's not what I would have gotten from this particular tarot spread. But, you know, Keri is probably not into tarot, being a Christian and everything. Help me, angels. Please help me get through this stream. I'm impressed I haven't started crying yet, because I have actually cried a lot about this issue. Got really depressed about it for a while. All right. We've Palo Santo'd. Everyone feeling good? We're in the home stretch, guys. We're in the home stretch of Keri Smith obsessive behavior. Home stretch. This is just Keri and Kieran. Kieran also thought this spread was about him. Kieran, this spread wasn't about you. I'm sorry. Like, I know I worded it in a way where I was trying to screw with you, but it wasn't actually about you. Oh, okay. Now I have to go to a screenshot from my Twitter account. Now, here is what happened. So now we have hit the point where the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire convention has happened, and I have surprisingly been nominated for governor. Now, those of you know that like that go to my locals, you know, like I was not expecting to be nominated for governor. It was like a surprise. It's like, you know, I wasn't expecting it. And so I'm trying to have fun with being nominated for governor. I might try to do something a little bit more serious. I'm still trying, to be honest, still trying to wrap my head around the whole idea and figure out if I want to do anything. Because I want to spend as much time as I can in the limited time that I have supporting Jeremy Kauffman for Senate. That's much more important to me. But I did get nominated for governor. And this broke them. Me getting nominated as the Libertarian candidate for governor broke them. And I'm going to tell you why it broke them. It broke them because they have spent the last year and a half trying to convince people that I have no friends, and that no one likes me. And so the fact that I received the Libertarian Party nomination for governor, it completely threw a wrench in their entire story, that everyone hates Carlin and no one likes her. So this has broken them, and we're going to see how it's broken them. But I want to show you this, and I can't show you this on his Twitter feed because Josh Slocum, who's that disaffected podcast asshole, he's made his Twitter account private. So I took a screenshot of it and I said, I graciously accept the endorsement of Josh Slocum. Josh tweeted out, deliberate subtweet. If you are a political party who elevates a sadistic, lying, mentally unstable person to a leadership position after you've been shown who this person is, who deserves the royal screwing over, you're going to get. Unfortunately, your stupidity is going to hurt good people volunteering for your party. You're going to get them harassed, libeled, and destabilized because you put a predator inside your own house. That's about me. That's about me getting nominated for governor. And Keri Smith retweeted it. I don't have the evidence to show you because Josh Slocum had made his Twitter account private at the time that I was looking for this. He does this all the time. He makes his account private for a couple hours, then makes it public, then makes it private, then makes it public, whatever. I couldn't provide the evidence, but Keri Smith retweeted this because, again, me being nominated for governor, let's watch what happened now. So this is Keri just as, again, interacting with a stalker account saying, LOL, yes. This is Keri complaining about me having burner accounts. So again, they have this list of burner accounts that I made specifically to needle them. And she says, there's a list going around of at least 11 known Twitter accounts Karlin Borisenko uses to stalk and harass people who have her blocked. Now, on that list are Twitter accounts that I registered as early as like 6 years ago that I don't even remember the passwords for. They've collected this list of Twitter accounts that I own, none of which I actually use. I don't use them. And they have no evidence that I do. Like, you can go on any of those Twitter accounts, there's nothing on them. But they're pissed off. They're pissed off that I have burner accounts specifically to track if they're hate watching me, and they can't stop me from creating new burner accounts. She has already told several of these targets that they can't hide from her. I'm not one of those who needed to be told, LOL. I'm one of the OG targets at this point. Different day, new psychopathic intrusion from this public nuisance. This is when, okay, so they've started harassing people in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire because, again, they're pissed off that I got nominated for governor. Jeremy Kauffman got nominated for Senate. So my stalker account on Twitter has started to go after them. And Keri is interacting with this stalker account saying, so this was us. Oh, this was talking about bending the knee. Keri says, and I say, of course, you guys know, I say, never bend the knee, no matter what. It's not the end of the pain, just the beginning. And Keri says, she knows a lot about this, as she's currently demanding apologies of all her bullying targets if they want the harassment to end. Fuck this lying, toxic hypocrite. I haven't demanded apologies from anyone. What has happened is people that I have had falling outs with seem to feel entitled to my help. And what I have said is that I am not going to help you until you apologize. But if you find your way to apologizing for the issue that we had, so if I can have some acknowledgement that the issue that was created is not going to happen again, then I am happy to help you. That's not demanding an apology. If they don't want to apologize, they don't have to apologize. And we can go on living completely separate lives, being two different people and doing our own thing. And that's fine. I don't care if anyone apologizes or not. But people who have burned me are not entitled to my help. And if they want my help, then they're going to have to apologize. Gypsy Witch Production says, can I do a banishing spell for you? Yes. please, please, please do a banishing spell. I would really appreciate that. Sam brings up a great point. Sam says, keep in mind, your last interaction with her was to call a truce. And then she says, I'm demanding an apology. I didn't even demand an apology from Keri. I just said, stop talking about me. Stop talking about me for an extended period of time, and I will give you the account from Gitter, and we can both go our separate ways. And now she's saying I demand apologies from everyone. I don't give a fuck if Keri Smith apologizes to me. I'm never forgiving. Well, no, that's not true. I would forgive her for this, but I will never forget this. I will never forget this. Moving on. This is Keri just retweeting people talking about me in her article. Okay, so remember how on January 10th, Mike Harlow tweeted that he was sick. Well, I did a little tour around the different projects that my haters have going on because I wanted to know, I was like, are they actually doing anything with their lives? Or are they just stalking me all day, every day? Because I actually do shit. Like, I have several projects that I've already completed today. I actually do shit in real life, not just complain on the internet and stalk people. But I was curious about whether or not they were. So one day I took a look around all of the different hater communities and projects and realized that nothing is actually going on. And in the course of that, I discovered that Mikey Harlow had posted in his locals that he was sick, and that's why he hadn't been posting in his locals. And I tweeted something to the effect of, well, Mikey, if you don't want to get sick, maybe you shouldn't spend all of your time with a toxic horde of bullies. Now, this is just good advice. Because if you are around toxic and abusive people all day, every day, that is going to end up making you physically sick. It's called general adaptation syndrome. You can Google it. Emotional stress leads to physical illness. So, one of the very easy things that you can do if you don't want to get sick is to not have unnecessary stress in your life. Stress makes people sick all the time. And the scary thing is we don't know how it's going to make people sick. It could be a heart attack. It could be a stomach ache. It could be a headache. Mikey apparently is sick, though, with some sort of mystery disease. And I don't want anyone to be sick. I don't want him to be sick. But what he did is he tried to insinuate that I was attacking him for having cancer, which never happened. And by the way, like, I would be extremely sad if Mikey did have cancer, even as much of a jackass as he's been. However, I don't think people who are undergoing tests for cancer use that as a weapon to attack people on Twitter. So until I have receipts, I'm just going to reserve judgment on that, because I know a lot of people who've had cancer. Several of my family members have died of cancer. And not a single one of them ever would have used it as an attack on someone they don't like on Twitter. So this is what's going on here, is I've tweeted to Mikey something to the effect of, if you don't want to get sick, stop hanging around with a toxic horde of bullies. And they didn't like that. And he's saying, oh, I'm going through tests to see if I have cancer. And Keri, of course, no. Keri is right down here, and she said, oh, yeah, that woman's talking about me. Keri says, Carlin is a con artist, a narcissist, a psychopath. When you see it, you can't unsee it. This is, again, all this is Keri responding to the stalker account about me. This is, okay, so now Deb and Keri have decided to start tweeting, because I told you guys, right, that when I got nominated for governor for the LPNH, this broke them. And so now Deb has started campaigning to tell the LPNH. And again, keep in mind, the people in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, these are my real life friends. I see them in real life. We hang out in real life, not internet bullshit, right? We talk all day, every day on Signal. I'm in the politics and the communications committee for the LPNH. I'm an elected delegate to the Libertarian Party National Convention in Reno, and their nominee for governor. These are people who, for some odd reason, actually like me in real life. I don't really understand it, but that's the way it is. Now, they are so perturbed that I got nominated for the Libertarian candidate for governor that they've started tweeting at the LPNH account. Now, keep in mind, I am on the fucking communications committee for the LPNH. I communicate all day, every day with the people who are tweeting from that account. Right? Deb is tweeting at them. Speaking of poor choices, Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, what in the world are you thinking? Or is it now an official LPNH position that Hitler is in heaven, that babies choose to be aborted, that Mike Harlow chooses to be ill, and then I made a poor choice distancing myself from a person holding these views? Deb is perturbed at my spiritual beliefs. But it is actually a position of the Libertarian Party that, people should be able to worship how they want to worship. Deb, of course, in this is twisting all of my beliefs to make them seem horrible and bad when they're not. They're not. But she's right now actively trying to disrupt my real life relationships. And she goes on to say, and I didn't look at all the replies, but I've just got these. All she had to do was accept the fundamental rule. Most associations aren't permanent. People will pass in and out of your life, and they'll have their reasons. Sometimes it will be your fault. Sometimes it won't. Either way, let them go. It's clear that why they're going. Well, that's a little ironic, considering I have said on multiple occasions, can we just stop and go our own separate ways and stop talking about me all the effing time? And of course, Keri responds because Keri doesn't know how to do anything else. And she says, narcissists cannot tolerate people seeing what they are, walking away from them. She did the same thing to me. Moving on. This is Keri responding to yet another account about me. This person is asking, is she the one who went to the Trump rally and got roasted by her knitting circle? And Keri's responding, yes, that's her story. This is them talking about my spiritual beliefs. This kind of new age BS is twisted. Keri, of course, is getting off on me canceled for that Holocaust tweet. And she says, I think every con artist is probably a sociopath, though not every sociopath is a con artist. So she's calling me a con artist there. That's real nice. We still got a bunch to go, but we're winding down, guys. Winding down. Hopefully we'll wrap up this in 3 hours. And just keep in mind, this is 2 months. What you're seeing here is 2 months. I have been dealing with this since October of 2020. I'm just going to keep emphasizing that because what you all are seeing right now is a small portion of the overall shit that I have been dealing with from this horde of people non-stop for a year and a half. This guy tweets about me all the time because he's angry that I blocked him. He says, what kind of soulless psychopath would tweet this? She has me blocked, but feel free to report her for being human filth. That's nice. And Keri, of course, swoops in because that's what Keri does. This person said, Little Ragamuffin. Little Ragamuffin was a woman involved in the knitting wars. And she got canceled and she hates me now because she's friends with Keri, of course, so she hates me. Thank you, Emphasize, for the super sticker. Appreciate it. She says this, she's talking about me. She's out for herself and that's it. She aims to destroy and discredit everyone in her path. This includes people who are actively fighting to the woke agenda, as she claims she is. She's out to be the voice and savior opposing woke ideology because she sees influence and power in it. And then Keri says, bingo. This is February 13th. Again, we've got the same meme. Same meme. This is from July. But this person saying, so she's a psychopath and a con artist. Keri swoops right in almost 2 months after this tweet was originally sent. So she's got this tweet bookmarked just to use in case she finds someone talking about me. She's like, ooh, let me give them a reason to hate Carlin. So she says on February 13th, this goes to the heart of her Jussie Smollett kind of sociopathy. She created fake memes of herself. I didn't create it. Put my name and Cassandra Fairbanks on them, and for 6 months use them to defame us. Okay, I would like evidence. I would like evidence. I would like receipts of how I used this meme for 6 months. She used this meme for 6 months. She used this meme for more than 6 months to defame me. I used this meme for about a week, and then I moved on. I moved on with life. It was funny. It was a joke. It pissed them off. And then we moved on with life. She is still using this. What is it? July, August, September, October, November, December. 7 months. 7 months. Keri has been pissed off about this meme. And she's the one accusing me of using it for 6 months. I want receipts of the last time I posted this meme. Okay, so this is Britt Marie, who we've already talked about. The one who wanted desperately, like, I think she's basically in love with me. I really do. Desperately wanted me to call her all the time to be her therapist, was DMing me all the time. And finally, when I said no and I blocked her because it was just too much, she turned on me and now is hanging out with this horde of bullies the whole time. Brandon says these people need to get a life. Truer words have never been spoken, Brandon. So she says, same for me. I've met narcissists and people who lost their minds by frying their brains, but I've never met someone that has those dark personality traits. From the reading I've done, the real Carlin is a non-violent psychopath. She has zero conscience. And then Keri says, yes, I've met non-malevolent narcissists before, people who put themselves above everything else. But I've never met this kind of malignant, dark, triad, psychopathic one before. And I wish I hadn't. You know, Keri insinuated, and we'll see it in a minute, that like something I said on Twitter was libel. I would like to say that Keri calling me a malignant narcissist and a psychopath over the course of dozens of tweets in the past 2 fucking months might be libel and defamation. I'm just saying. Thank you, Sin, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Sorry, guys. I need to take a drink. My throat is starting to go. We're nearing hour 3. We're going to go until it's done. But we're nearing hour... I told you this, guys, was going to be a stream. I told you. All right. I think we might... Oh, we're home stretch. Home stretch. Okay. This is on February 13th. This is me again saying, listen, I'm sorry. I do not believe Mikey Harlow has cancer. I don't believe he does. I'm sorry. I just don't. If he ends up having cancer and I am proven wrong, I will be incredibly sad. I will be incredibly sad. And I will feel for him and I will pray for him and I will hope he gets better. But right now, I think what he's doing is using the fact that he might have some mysterious illness in order to attack me on Twitter. And that's kind of disgusting and bad. But Keri's tweeting about me. Look, I even say in this tweet, I say, I hope he's not sick. I genuinely do. But if he is sick, he should consider how his own actions caused that. And what I mean by that is when you hang out with toxic bullying people all day, every day, you're going to create unnecessary stress for yourself. And that's eventually going to wake its way into your body and you're going to be sick. This is just a medical thing. This is a medical reality. This is the science. So if people don't want to be sick, don't hang out with toxic people. Really easy way. And then Keri tweets it and says, this is vile. As I've said before, this person is not on my side. We do not have the same principles, priorities, goals, values, beliefs, behaviors, or hearts. Yeah, Keri, you're right about that. We absolutely do not have the same heart. Be careful who you make bedfellows with. Many of us have learned this lesson the hard way in life. This is, so this person started attacking me on Twitter the other day when I said, okay, so I'm a little annoyed with the conservatives, and as a result, stupid conservatives get annoyed with me. And I tweeted the other day, I said, I hope what people remember about my story is not that I was a Democrat who went to a Trump rally. I hope they remember that I was used by conservatives when it was convenient for them, and then they abandoned all the values they said they held held and became no better than the left. And I stand by that tweet. I do believe I was used by conservatives, not normal people, but I do believe I was used by people who wanted a specific message to go out. And I don't regret that tweet. So this person is a stupid conservative and tweeted that. And Keri, of course, has to swoop right in because someone hates me, and so that someone is Keri's friend. Okay, so this is Keri. Oh, this is the libel tweet. This is especially ironic. This was yesterday. So this is, again, Keri is interacting with a stalker account. I don't know exactly what they're referring to here, but Keri is tweeting that I am engaging in libel. Keri Smith wrote an entire essay that is still public on the internet right now, calling me her abusive mother. Keri Smith, in the course of this stream, I've proved Keri Smith has called me a con artist, a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, a stalker. She's insinuated that no one likes me and I don't have any friends. She's engaged with people who are attacking me. She's engaged with people who are literally spending all day stalking me. But I crossed the line. Okay. Sure. Guys, we're almost at the end. These are the last four. And I think most of these are retweets. So, okay, Deb Philman denounced me the other day because Deb is having some feelings right now. Keri, of course, swoops right in. I would not be surprised at all if Keri Smith had a hand in writing this statement that Deb put out denouncing me and said, "On wolves. If someone hates Carlin, I must hate Carlin too." And then, okay, so this person I got in a fight with on Twitter the other day, so she's pissed off at me because I blocked her. She's tweeting out Keri's article, and she's saying, "This is beautiful." This is the article that we read at the beginning. She's saying, "This is beautiful and hit close to home. Thank you for bearing your soul." Now, this person, I don't know who the hell this person is, but this is not true. Let's just be real clear. This person says, "I'm going to check this out. I've had suspicions about her ever since she tried the police who went on Tim Pool's show." I do not know what that's about. I tried. Oh, I think he meant I tried to police. I'm not policing who Tim Pool has on at all. I don't really care. I don't think Vosh should be elevated at all because Vosh uses his audience to attack people. And I'm allowed to have an opinion on that. And then Keri says she is psychotic. Now, let's keep in mind, Keri, mere hours before sending a tweet calling me psychotic, has said that anything I say about her is libel. And then hours later saying I'm psychotic. Okay. And then Josh Slocum tweeted this out again. "Cluster B is no joke. The parents who tormented their children also exist in real-world adult bullies." He's tweeting out Keri's article again. Keri, of course, retweets it. And then this is just this person tweeting it again, and Keri retweets it again. Alexandra, thank you for the member chat. Thank you for being a member of the channel for 11 months. Alexandra says, "Just a reminder to mount that like button. Love you, Carlin. We are here for you." So that took almost 3 hours. That has been the last 2 months of my life. This has been going on since October of 2020. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. My throat is a little bit raw. Yeah. Patrice says, "I watch Tim Pool all the time and support him. Carlin never discourages me or demanded anything." Again, lies. Exactly. If there is anything that you guys would like to say in the chat that you would like me to display on the screen, please feel free. And I will display it on the screen. I apologize for ignoring people on Odyssey and Rockfin. Melted Brain Cell says, "Why do I always come back? You annoy me and I'm addicted to it." Hey, I guess there are worse things. But thank you guys for watching on Odyssey. My Awesome Channel says, "I generally like Keri, but I also think she has a bit of an obsessive personality." Yep. Thank you for watching on Rockfin. Thank you for watching on Rumble. So let's see. I'm going to answer some questions. Sin says, "Am I going the legal route with these people?" Well, I feel like it has reached a point where I am documenting everything. I will absolutely be delivering a dossier to my police station. I haven't decided what I'm doing beyond that. But this needs to stop. Again, my ask in this is that Keri stop and move on with life. Stop engaging with bullies. Stop rallying. Like, there's nothing that, like, the thing of it is like, that horde of bullies is now self-sustaining. So I am going to have to deal with this horde of bullies in perpetuity every day. Every day that I am public on the internet, I will have to deal with these people. But I would at least like the queen bee, the epicenter of all of this, Keri Smith, to stop and to move on with life. Focus on her own things. I meant what I said. When I said there is nothing that I would like more than for Keri Smith to continue the work that she is doing, trying to wake people up, trying to teach people about the SJW ideology. I would love her to be very successful at that because she is very good at it and she has a lot of good things to say. And she can help a lot of people. And we can do that separately without liking each other. We don't need to be best friends. We don't need to talk. What I do need is for Keri to spend more time doing the work she should be doing and to spend less time focused on me. Ideally, 0 time focused on me. And I promise you, Keri, if you stop talking about me, I will never talk about you again. But every single time you talk about me, I'm going to put it in a file, and then I'm going to decide if I want to respond or if I don't want to respond. But stop talking about me, and we can both move on with fucking life, dude. Cobb Squared Inc. says, I have an abusive mom. You, Carlin, are not an abusive mom. Not even close. Thank you for that. Just T says, I could something very cruel about Deb, but I don't because I'm not a... See you next Tuesday. Apparently, some people have no level of restraint. Yep. Yep. Sin says it needs to stop. It does need to stop. Graphically Alex says, my biggest thing is I have disagreed with you publicly and privately, and it has been fine. I am almost certain that it would not be the case with Keri. That's my thoughts overall. Yeah, if you disagree with Keri publicly, she's going to call you stupid, or she's going to assume, she's going to say you're in a cult, or that you're like a flying monkey, or that I've manipulated you. Go ahead, give it a try, see what happens. Deborah Evans, do you need us to help via Twitter? You know, listen, I have always said that I don't want people involved in this. My preference would be that we all just stop. That would be my preference. I will say, though, that someone did make an account the other day that started exposing this stuff, and it was really nice. But I don't want them to attack you guys, and I don't want to put you in the middle of it, and I don't want to feel like you're obligated. But it was really nice. It was really nice, and so thank you to the person who created that account. They all of course thought that account was me, and they all accused me of doing it. But it wasn't me. But it was really nice. It was really nice. Average person says Tim Pool is cool, but Carlin, you kind of helped me to decide to kind of back off conservatives because of the wokeness. Now I just feel lost. I don't know what to do or well, I mean, you know, average person, like, you don't have to be a part of a tribe. You don't have to choose. Most people feel politically homeless, you know? I don't know. Come hang out in my locals, man. There's a lot of people who feel like you do. So don't, like, you're not alone. You're not alone. Patrice says, if you don't try to stop it and it escalates more, you might not have as much standing against them in the future, Carlin. It's a good idea to report it. I know. I've really just been trying to, like, I really did try to ignore it. Like, I really did, but it just... Camilla says, I might not agree with you, everything you have to say, but I'm finally at a place where I realize we all need to listen to each other or no problems will be solved. That's awesome. We do need to listen to each other. Sam says the libertarian platform is that people are free to hold their own religious beliefs. Deb, asking the Libertarian Party to denounce you for your religious beliefs is laughable. I want to say this. When I was getting canceled for that Holocaust tweet, the LPNH and the Mises Caucus, they didn't waver. They did not waver at all. I didn't even need to provide them with any explanation. I didn't need to say to them, I was being a little trolly and I said something flamboyant. It is actually what I believe, but it's not like it's not exactly this way. And I had to offer no explanation. They were there and they had my back. And it felt really good because they know that that's all bullshit. They know. Everyone should be able to believe whatever they want to believe. I don't agree with Keri's church that apparently excommunicates people who are unrepentant sinners. But guess what? Keri Smith has a right to worship in that church. She has a right to do that. And I will defend her right to worship however she wants to worship. Because that's the way it should be. Jess T says, I wonder what Carlin's plan is at this point. What do you intend to do? Well, I think this is a big part of what I intended to do, is just to talk about it for the first time, really publicly, and to show you guys what's been happening. But I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of response. I'm sure they're all strategizing right now. I'm sure they're all complaining. My sincere hope is that it stops and that we can all move on with life. That is my sincere hope. But if it continues to escalate, it's not going to come from me. If it continues to escalate, it's going to come from them. JB says they need to take down the stalking account. I agree with you. I agree that taking down the stalker account would be a great first step to moving on with life. I 100% agree with that, JB. Taking down that stalker account would be a great first step for everyone moving on with their life. JB says they have done it to me and Carlin has never said anything to me. Yep. Yep, that's true. Alex says Keri is super controlling. I met with those kinds of people about as oil as what. Yeah, I mean, I do think that this is a control issue. I think that you know, I think yeah, Keri was an SJW for 20 years. Like, it's hard. Like, you don't get rid of addictions just because you wake up to your side doing some stupid thing. You just transfer that addiction, right? Patrice says you can support Carlin on Twitter without hurting people. If you can do it, do it. I do. Thank you, Patrice. I appreciate that. Helen says, I hate this for all of us. We need to work together. When I get miffed at someone, I take a break from them. It helps me get back things in focus. Wishing you peace and understanding. I appreciate that. Jen O'Toole says, support you 100%, Carlin. I want to give you a big hug. Oh, Jen, it's great to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mommy, for the super sticker. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Deborah says, I am old and don't effing care and have no Twitter exposure, so I can lurk and insert bits and pieces at a time. Again, you know, I mean, do what you feel is best. Do what you feel is right. Brandon says she seems like an SJW who pivoted. Yes. And, you know, to be really honest, and I'm going to say this, I would love Keri to work out her mommy issues in therapy. She obviously needs it. She wrote an essay about having mommy issues. And I don't say that as any knock. Again, I didn't have the greatest of childhoods. But you know what I did? I went to fucking therapy. I didn't project my mommy issues onto someone I don't know on the internet. And then let's all remind ourselves, because this was at the beginning of the stream. They tried to get me fucking canceled from locals. They tried to get me canceled from locals. That's why this is happening. That's why I wanted to walk, because it's not even just that they're just being annoying on Twitter. They tried to cancel my income. Not all of my income. They can't cancel all of my income because I have like multiple revenue streams. But locals is a significant thing for me. I love my locals community. My locals community is the best. We help each other. We support each other. There are great people in my locals community. And they colluded to try to get my community canceled. The minute Dave fucking Rubin got involved in this is the minute that it had gone too goddamn far. Well, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't control when you came into the stream. The stream presents an arc of a story, so I guess you're gonna have to go back and watch the beginning. But you know, what can you do? Let's see. Thank you, Incognito. I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through the chat, guys. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It's okay, Mike. I appreciate that. Faye says I'm a libertarian that has to vote for Republicans because I don't think libertarians will get enough votes. Well, Faye, I mean, if you're not going to start voting for libertarians, then they are never going to get enough votes. So it's just, it is what it is, man. You got to support the right candidates. Connie, I've been bigger than them this entire time, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, here's what you guys don't understand. Like, I really think that Keri thought that I wouldn't fight back because I have a bigger platform than her. But they have been, I haven't even, you know what I haven't done on this stream? I haven't shown you the private messages that I don't believe in sharing private messages, but like, I haven't shown you guys the private messages that they've sent to people in my community, trying to turn my community against me. They tried to get me canceled off of locals today, which they did not. Locals handled it in the right way, which is to say, this is stupid. So it doesn't matter if I'm bigger than that. Like, the numbers do not matter. They are actively trying to cancel me. So it's time to talk about it. She kind of reminds me of the girl I was in 4th grade who said that I would go to hell because I wasn't baptized. Yes. Cobb Square, I'm new here. Oh, well, Cobb Square, I promise that this is not what we normally do. I promise you this is not what we normally do. So welcome. I'm glad you made it. As my grandpa used to say, don't let the bastards grind you down. Let me show you what I have. Let me show you what I have. Hang on. Hang on. One sec. One sec. Okay. Okay. I have something on the topic of this specifically. Oh, there it goes. So check this out. Check this out. I'm going to get this hung in my office when I ever redo my office. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Great minds. Great minds. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Sam says, I plan on liking and supporting your book and the Unwoke Army. Thank you, Sam. Connie says you have more influence. Connie, it doesn't matter. If they get me canceled off of my platforms because they're attacking me and they're rallying people to their side because I'm not talking about it, then I will no longer have influence. You know? No, Locals is not going to cancel me. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Well, I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. I think Locals would look pretty ridiculous if they canceled me after a 3-hour stream explaining that the people trying to get me canceled off of Locals are in a freaking club that are trying to cancel me. Jaya says they have way too much time on their hands. Imagine if this much energy was put into fighting, was put into fighting things that they should be fighting. I agree, Jaya. Like I said, I would prefer they redirect their energy. Projection in therapy can be useful as a way to work out these problems, but it's not good outside of that context. Exactly. The only positive is that her relentless hate has brought the Locals crew closer together. Isn't that the truth? It has brought us closer together, hasn't it? Thank you, Alex. It does make me sick for you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Maria Rose says, wow, that's scary. They say they are the good guys, but then they attack you like the left does. Yes. Yes, they do. JB says they have been incessant. I mean, we just saw that. It just took us 3 hours to go through every single thing that just Keri Smith has tweeted about me, let alone every other one of those dozens of accounts. What can you do to help me in locals? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, I don't think I'm in any danger of getting canceled off of locals. And I do not want to inundate them with like a lot of emails saying this is bullshit. You can't cancel her. Because I think that'd be kind of rude for them. Like, I think they did the right thing. Um, but I would say just, just your support means a lot. Olivia, we talked about it at the beginning of the stream. So I did a live stream in locals like a couple weeks ago when I was just at peak frustration, where I said something like, if Keri Smith comes to Porkfest, I'm gonna beat the shit out of her. And then I paused and I said, I probably wouldn't do that, but that felt really good to say. Like, I don't believe in violence. I've never even been in a fight in my life. But I was at a moment where they were stalking me. They were basically trying to triangulate my location at the Boston Marathon bombing. And it was like, I was just like, this is goddamn insane. And I was very angry. I was very frustrated. I'd said something I shouldn't. I immediately corrected myself. And they took that clip and clipped it out of context. And a whole bunch of them reported me to locals saying, Carlin is issuing threats of violence in her community. That wasn't what happened. That wasn't what happened at all. And any insinuation that it was is ridiculous. And if like, and the level of stalking and harassment that it took to get me to the point of saying that, you've now seen it. You've now seen it. So that's what they did. They clipped something out of context. A lot of them reported me to locals at the same time. I got a call from Dave Rubin today saying, Carlin, we're getting a lot of reports about you threatening violence. And I said, Dave, that's ridiculous. And he was basically like, yeah, I kind of figured it was something like that. And life went on. Life went on. Brandon says, you're a poor cult leader. Would you give up your game? Yeah, I mean, well, their ultimate goal, right? Their ultimate goal is obviously to shut me up. The ultimate goal is obviously to shut me up. Sadly for them, that's not going to happen. I would not give them the satisfaction of shutting up. I would not do it. Not in any way. I have too many things I'm supposed to do that have nothing to do with them. And so what I would like is I would like to be able to focus on my stuff, and they can focus on whatever projects they have, and we can all move on with life. That is what I would like. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but like if I don't know, if you guys want to send them support emails, I guess, like to saying like this is stupid. Keri has been stalking and like harassing Carlin for over a year. Like I shouldn't have said that, but I also immediately corrected myself and it wasn't a real threat. Like, let's be clear. It was me being extremely angry that they were literally stalking me on the goddamn internet. And anyone and I played the clip at the beginning. I'm not ashamed of this. I played the clip at the beginning. It's still in my locals. I immediately said, I'm not going to do that, but that felt really good to say. Yeah, exactly. You have to teach people how to treat you and never let them treat you like Keri and your friends are treating me. Yeah, you have to teach people how to treat you. Sam says, just as a reminder, Carlin has a new book, hosts community events, does fun psychic streams, has happy hour woke trainings, and much more. Thank you, Sam. Average person says, I think I'll join your locals group. I've been on the fence about it for some time, but with the craziness, well, come on, average person. We do community Zoom calls twice a week. Love you, Carlin. We'll pray a hedge of protection for you. Thank you, PNW American. I appreciate that. Brooke says, I think you've handled it about as well as you could have. So sorry you're going through this mess. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate that. I mean, I've gained a lot of weight over this issue and I'm not happy about it. I need to start going back to the gym. Joshua was like, Carlin, you don't have to stream today. You can just go to the gym. And I was like, no, Joshua, I'm streaming. I'm doing it. I can go to the gym tomorrow. Probably not, but maybe. I'm just scrolling through the chat, guys. Jess T says, I don't know how you handled all this, Carlin. I'm so amazed at how you managed. Thank you, Jess. Incognito says, how can Keri say she walked away from the left when she is still using lefty tactics? I think that is a great question. I think that's a great question. Olivia says they did a CNN on you. Totally did a spin. That's exactly right, Olivia. Common cure, cameras in the classroom is a check on the government. It's not a check on the people. It's a check on the government. And it's cameras in classrooms are about accelerating the defunding of the schools. So yeah, the Gadsden hat with cameras in classrooms does make sense because it's not a check on the people, it's a check on the government, and the express purpose is to defund the public schools. Sarah says, just thank locals for not canceling Carlin. No, I don't think I'm in danger of being canceled. It's just like, you know how it works. Like, they have their whole mob of people. They all coordinated. They're like, we're all going to email locals at the same time to make it seem like everyone hates Carlin. I'm sure that's what happened. I'm sure that's what they do. This shit to me all the time. In full context, you showed you were human. Exactly. And if you watch that stream, I was extremely upset in that stream, as I think anyone would be, having undergone a year and a half of constant bullying and harassment. And then all of a sudden, I have a group of people trying to triangulate whether or not I was at the Boston Marathon bombing to try to prove that I'm a pathological liar. And that was a deeply traumatic event for me. Like, they can go fuck themselves. Deborah says, still on your side with regard to anti-wokeism. What besides Keri's mental issues is their endgame? Do they expect all of your followers would go to them and give them more income? Yes. That's exactly what they expect. That is what they expect. They want to shut me up. What I heard a rumor. What I heard is that Mikey was pretending to be my friend while we were on tour for Walkaway, and that really he was colluding with Keri to try to get me kicked out so that Keri could take my place and walk away. Now, let us forget, let us just remember that it's not like there is like a set number of people that are allowed to be in Walkaway. Both Keri and I could have been doing Walkaway rallies. But no, they wanted to try to get me kicked out so that Keri could take my place. And by the way, guys, I want to mention this. Brandon is not involved in this. Well, at least I haven't involved Brandon. The only thing that I have said to Brandon about the Mikey stuff is, I don't want you to pay attention to it. And he said, I don't want to pay attention to it, Carl. And I said, good, Brandon. I don't want you to pay attention to it. Because I don't want him involved. This is not his problem, right? So he is Switzerland. I have not involved him. It's like Keri's Mean Girls. Yeah. Exercise stream on locals. Well, we were going to start our weight loss challenge on locals, weren't we? We were going to do that. Let's see. Just scrolling through the chat, guys. Oh, hey, Tori. It's good to see you. Do you know what the cause of their unhealthy obsession was with you? Well, I think it started because Keri was jealous that my platform grew faster than her. And then Keri started lying and saying that I said things publicly that I didn't say. And I don't know. Well, apparently, like, if I remind Keri of her, if I like remind Keri of her abusive mother, then that was probably it. Like, she just didn't like me on sight. Sin said, if Carlin suddenly disappeared, I wouldn't go to any of these people for any reason. Well, I appreciate that, Sin. Let's see. Camilla says they wouldn't be after you if you weren't making such a positive impact in the world. Like, I'm trying, but like, this is really a problem. And it's like, I don't want to, again, I don't want to spend any time on this at all. I have too much shit going on as it is. I was in, like, you can ask my locals. I was incredibly annoyed today. I was like, I have to spend 4 fucking hours screenshotting tweets from Keri's account. God damn it. I have like 3 things to do today. Here's what I've done today alone. I've launched like an employee engagement survey for a client because I still do that sort of stuff. I had to research for a stream I'm going to do. I had to work on my website. I had to launch stuff related to a webinar. I still haven't finished the promotion for tomorrow's webinar with Paul Rossi. I need to work on that after I get done this. I had to cut videos. I had to edit videos. I had to do my local stream for 3 hours. I've already had like 15 other projects today, and it's like the fact that I have to spend any time on this at all is really aggravating to me. So I just have too much I want to do. And it's like, it just needs to stop. It needs to go away. This isn't productive for anyone. There is nothing that they can do to stop my book from coming out. There is nothing that they can do to stop the platform that I'm building. There is nothing that they can do. Melanie says, wonder if the good folks at Keri's church know about her behavior. True, Christians don't condone or behave this way. Listen, I don't want to act like them. I don't want to act like them. I don't. So I'm not like, I don't want to reach out to Keri's church about this. I don't think it's any of their business. Like, I just think Keri should stop. Carlin has a husband and followers who care and love her. Victor and Carlin obviously support one another. Keri does have a husband. She does. She's married. I really was hoping when she got married, she would settle down and like focus on her newlywed life rather than me, but that didn't happen. If she did, she wouldn't be so hell bent on ruining Carlin. Yeah, and gaslighting you, they're trying to cover their tracks by obsessing over the topic of narcissism, cluster Bs, conning. I really hope, I dearly hope that Mikey is not involving Brandon in this. What I suspect is happening is Mikey's in Brandon's ear saying, have you heard how bad Carlin is? Have you heard Carlin did this? Have you heard that they did that? I don't have any reason to say that other than knowing Mikey. But I really hope he's not bothering Brandon with this because Brandon doesn't need this shit. Reagan says, keep going and stay strong, Carlin. You are a truthful and genuine person and never bend the knee to a mob. Thank you. Dave Rubin is smart enough to not be fooled by them. I think he is. I think that is true. Olivia says it was annoying to do this, but now it has been exposed. It's off your chest. I feel better. My throat has been so fucked up lately, and Joshua told me like a week ago, he's like, there's something you need to say that you're not saying. And my throat is feeling really dry and hurt right now, but it's like, I literally feel like I have a load off my chest. I literally feel like a weight. You know, guys know at the start of the stream, I was talking about like my chest was feeling constricted. I don't feel that anymore. Thank you, Sin. I appreciate you. All right. And M169 says people need to mind their own business. Hugs for you. Thank you. All right, guys, that's all I have in the chat. Let me just do a quick check-in on Rumble and on Odyssey and on Rockfin. Looks like nothing's going on there. Yeah. Trolls couldn't stop the stream. Nope. Couldn't stop it. I'm gonna be fascinated to see how many thumbs down I got for this stream. I'm gonna be fascinated. Guys, mount that like button if you haven't already. I will be fascinated to see how many thumbs down I got for this stream when I actually look at it. Because you know they all watched. You know they all watched. All right, guys, I'm gonna jet because it's been almost 3.5 hours, and my husband texted me that he brought me home beer. I asked him to go to the craft beer store and get me some good beer, not gas station beer, and I think he did. And so I'm gonna go and spend some time with my husband. But thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate your support. Thank you especially to my locals. who have been aware of this for a while and have been nothing but supportive. And I really can't tell you how much your support has meant to me, because this has really sucked. This has been incredibly distracting. It's been awful. And thank you for being supportive tonight. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow with a much better stream that maybe tomorrow, now that I have this off my chest, maybe tomorrow we'll talk about forgiveness. Maybe tomorrow we will talk about forgiving the people that wrong us in life. Because I did have Joshua do a reading on this. I said, Joshua, what do I do about this Keri situation? And he said, Carlin, you need to forgive. And I wasn't in a place to forgive today, but maybe now that I've gotten it off my chest, I will be in a place to forgive tomorrow. So maybe that's what we'll talk about. That'd be an apt topic. All right, guys, take care. We'll see.